S-U-C-K-S.
Absolutely.
It sat on the table a little too long. I think my wife, Mabel, she prepared it wrong. My stomach's weak, but that bird sure smells strong. That's why the turkey gives me cramps. I love Thanksgiving. It's my thing. So pass me a wing. Now I'm sick. What a kick. The USDA shouldn't have put on that stamp, because that turkey gave me cramps. I had 4 helpings, like some kind of nut, and that bad turkey kicked me right in the gut. Now I've turned green and I might throw up, 'cause that turkey gave me, that cuckoo bird gave me, that turkey gave me the cramps.
Okay, 10:02 at 560 WQM. It's Monday, November 20. This is a week that'll live in infamy. I can smell it already. Can't you smell it?
What do you mean?
It's not the turkey either. What I mean is that we have no program director and we have a really weak-kneed paper tiger general manager. You can't complain about the management at QM because, generally speaking, we don't have any. We have a bunch of weak sisters that are blind and the poor and whatever else. So anyway, it's basketball season again for the Hurricanes, and actually that's the number one thing. That's the main thing on Clarence's plate, our program director part-time. So as a result, he ain't around today, and of course this is a week George is on vacation, so Josh had to call Miguel. Miguel is there today. How's things in Cuba?
Muy bien, gracias.
Good. And only because Josh called him to come in, because we don't have a program director. And then Friday, we got George and Josh are both going to be off. So I think Friday I'm just going to play the rack like I used to do on Thanksgiving Day. Only this year I'm not working Thanksgiving Day.
Oh!
Finally wised up. And that's because we got the Dolphins and the Lions. We don't have the game, of course, but we got 85 hours of pregame and postgame and crap like that. And then Thursday night on Thanksgiving, give you something extra thankful for. The Canes will go 5-7, football that is, because they're going to play Boston College and get their asses whipped. Yeah. Can you even begin to imagine that? Going to be pretty ugly.
Oh, yes, it is.
Well, Josh is all excited. His team won a game yesterday. The Buccaneers squeaked by the Redskins.
By 3, and we're 3-7.
They are really kicking some serious ass. The Patriots had a real tough battle with the Packers, 35-0.
As a girls'
just
team.
Manhandled them. They are a girls' team, and of course that's the same Packers that beat the Dolphins just a few weeks ago. But that's before the resurgence of the fish. I told you they'd beat Minnesota. Minnesota's a little girls' team. They suck. And at that, it was a miracle that they won a game. They did everything to try to lose the game, and they still won it. We don't want to get too sports-intensive, though. We don't want to do that. I think rather I'd talk about Clarence all 4 hours today. Just, we got Miguel there. He hates these stories. Well, who's going to be there tomorrow and Wednesday?
Maybe we'll drag Miguel in here again.
See, nobody has scheduled anybody for this week. I'm sure that George told Clarence about his vacation way ahead of time. He told me about it a long time ago.
Yes, he did. I remember them having the conversation.
Well, there you go. But Clarence, of course, he's busy because he's got to be doing UM basketball. He's like Mike Rosenthal Jr., Clarence, a little sports nerd. All his life, he's going to be sitting. Make up your mind, Clarence. Do you want to be the program director of a major market radio station, alleged, or do you want to be UM? And what does he do on the games? Doesn't Zagacki do the play-by-play on the games?
Well, yes, he does, but it's still football season, so I know he's done at least one game by himself.
Oh, my God. He's doing the play-by-play, the blow-by-blow? Well, it wouldn't be the first time, I'll guarantee you that. What a clown. And, of course, like I said, our general manager, he's got nothing to say about any of this because he's a paper tiger. You know how we got Tony the Tiger over there at Power? At least we used to. He's not still there, is he?
Yes, he is.
Well, like I said, Tony the Tiger at Power 96. And we got Paper Tiger as our general manager. I sent him an email this morning about this whole thing with our scheduling and having nobody in there and the whole deal. And maybe 4 weeks from next Sukkot, which is next October, maybe I'll get a response to it. He's got big fish to fry, baby, but we got those sales numbers up. Oh! That's the important thing, okay? We got the sales numbers up. The rating numbers, well, we're still working on those. You know, we got that point something in the morning and whatever else we got. We got some big numbers in midday still, but, of course, we can't have anybody working on making it. And then, of course, this morning it took us, about 20 minutes before we could communicate because some jackass, again, yesterday for the umpteenth time, shut off the pot on the board so there was no audio feed up to here.
Yeah, not surprised. But,
not surprising at all because we have UM basketball on there. Let me ask you, how many people do you think are listening to UM basketball on this radio station?
About 30, man.
And that's a lot. That's an exaggeration. There is no interest. It's like the Panther games. There's no interest. We are playing with ourselves, baby. That's what we're doing. And speaking of that, we got the Panthers and the Bruins tonight. All right. Just calm down, okay? Don't get yourself all worked up into a frenzy. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, Joe. You silly person, you clown. Clarabelle the clown. That's what we got. Well, good news from Iraq again. Assassins killed a popular Baghdad TV comedian and a professor at a university south of the capital today, but failed in attempts to kill 2 government officials as the country's leader met with Syria's foreign minister about improving security and reopening diplomatic relations. Improving security. They got a sense of humor or what?
It's getting better.
In all, 20 Iraqis were killed in a series of attacks in Baghdad, Ramadi, and Bakuba. There you go, Miguel, Bakuba.
All right.
And the bodies of 25 Iraqis have been kidnapped and tortured, found on the streets of the capital and in Dujail, north of Baghdad. In fact, I think the number yesterday was like 112 were killed in Iraq. But, you know, it's a weekend. They're busy. Got to have something to keep them busy on the weekend. So things continue deteriorating, and all this bloodshed goes on. Bada-beep, bada-boop, bada-bop, and all the talking heads are, well, we got to do this, we got to do that. They don't know their ass from Clarence's elbow. Seriously, I may have to hire a hitman this year. That's the only way we're going to get a real PD in there. They might have to hire somebody. Is get a hitman and just take him out. When in doubt, take him out. That's all. Because Joe Bell's not going to do anything about it. It's the same old crap, same old song. Like the Four Tops, you know. Here's the poll from Friday. Boy, look at the number of votes we had on there. What ultra-rich person do you despise the most? 2,182 votes. Pretty heavy duty.
I'd say so.
Rupert Murdoch had a third of all the votes, 728. They hate him like poison because he's a right-wing piece of garbage. He's crap on 2 legs, Rupert Murdoch, and they despise him and his Fox crap and his New York Post and all his right-wing publications. They can't stand his ass. Oh, and I got a story about Fox, as a matter of fact. What did I do with it? Fox News, before I get back to the poll, Fox might air 2 episodes of a Daily Show-like program with a decidedly right-wing bent on Saturday nights in late January, with the possibility it could become a weekly show for the channel on Fox News Channel. That ought to go over big, because those right-wingers have a real sense of humor, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
The half-hour show is executive produced by 24's Joel Surnow and Manny Coda and creator Ned Rice, who previously wrote for Politically Incorrect and The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson. Never heard of it. It would take aim at what Sunrow calls the sacred cows of the left that don't get made as much fun of by other comedy shows. It's a satirical news format that would play more to Fox News' audience than the Michael Moore channel, Surnow said. It would tip more to the right as the Daily Show tips to the left. Well, good luck to you, okay?
I
Bunch
bet
of
that
fascist
would be a
bastards. Rupert Murdoch, 728 votes. I hate all of them, 302. That's all the schleppers out there who are jealous of the wealthy, and I don't blame them. Donald Trump, 273. Oprah, he just edged her ass out, 272. And when you can edge out Oprah's ass, boy, you're really doing a job. Wayne Huizenga, 254. Wayne has fallen. That's because nobody really pays any attention to him anymore. We don't hear that much about him. You don't own the Panthers no more, right? Don't own the Marlins no more for a long time. And, of course, the Dolphins suck anyway, so why does anybody care about Wayne? I hate this poll, 144, 6.5%. George Steinbrenner, 108. Pretty small potatoes. Ted Turner, only 59. Bill Gates had
about 30, man.
And Warren Buffett, only 12. Out of almost 2,200 votes on our very, very popular poll over the weekend. I would just love to see. Wouldn't you like to have one of those surveillance cameras in that studio there and see what goes on there in the weekend?
Yeah, I would like that.
Because Josh was describing to me this morning, when we were finally able to communicate after about 10 or 15 minutes of I'm sitting here, hello, they shut the pot off, can anybody hear me? You know, like that. It's the same old crap, Joe. It's the same old crap, and that's because there's nobody doing nothing about it. That's the kind of place this is, okay? Just get the billing up, just sell a lot of spots, and that's all we care about. Don't pretend we're running a radio station, because we're not. In fact, look at those numbers at certain day parts. But nevertheless, here's today's poll. What's your biggest regret? Thanks, by the way, to Sean. Our good friend Paul Sean, who sends in his poll suggestions. I thought that they were pretty crappy, but then I looked at this one again. I added a few of my own. I thought this is pretty good. Not a bad poll, right?
Not too bad.
What's your biggest regret? 608 votes. We got a low start. We may not make our 1,000 today, you know?
Oh, we'll get
I have
it.
my doubts. Well, it's Thanksgiving week. A lot of people are traveling now. And I put this on there, I don't know, kind of late. About 8, kind of late. The ass I missed, 224, is winning overwhelmingly. That was what I voted, of course, meaning not necessarily ass, literally.
Rectum.
But, you know, in some cases. Sex. All the potential hanky-panky that I could have done. If I'd have known then what I know now, and I certainly didn't. Damn it. The ass I missed, 224. Never went to college, 76. Don't feel bad about that. Highly overrated going to college. Highly overrated. I hate this poll, 65. 10.6%. Way too high. This is a good poll today, you idiots. Never found true love, 62. Boy, does that make you want to get out a violin and you can just see the tears on the bow of the violin. Or is that rosin? Did you ever rosin up a violin bow? I'm sure neither one of you did.
Not lately.
No.
It's a little bit gay. Getting married, 59. Bad mistake. Don't do it. Don't do it. Wish I'd been a better person, 58. And I can understand with many of you in that case. Was a lousy son or daughter, 24. Never bought a house, 23. Should have probably put on there, never stole a freight train. Having kids, 11, bad mistake. And there are a lot of idiots reproducing out there. It's a bad mistake, not just for them, but for society in general, for the world, as we knew it.
How about for the infamous vote on your poll, I have no regrets?
That would be good. I have none. Yeah, that would be fine. People out there who are perfect, who lived a perfect, very happy life, never had any, okay, put it on there. And didn't graduate high school, only 6. Well, no comment. Listen, like I said, there are a lot of self-made people out there, at least 5 or 10, in this business of, well, you got to go to college and get a good education. There's some things in life, like you think you learn this by going to college, this crap that I'm doing okay. I have no complaints. I'm doing fairly well. Went to Michigan State for about 5 minutes. I was there for 2 years. How many classes would you say in 2 years?
About 30, man.
I think that's a little bit high, but something like that. Drank a lot of beer, though, a lot of Meisterbrow, and saw a lot of football games and hockey games. All right. Didn't go to no basketball games, though, and that's a shame because maybe Clarence was broadcasting them and I could have actually, I did go to a couple of basketball games. Don't ask me why. But that's because Art Schwarm played for Michigan State back then, and boy, he was sure a pretty guy. See, that's the reason I would go to a basketball game.
Art Schwarm warmed you up?
Art Schwarm made me warm. 10:13 at 560 WQM, your totally discombobulated station. Boy, I'm going to tell you, I may fly down there and just, I'm going to hire a hitman and just have them beat the snot out of Clarence.
Only in the Banana Republic, baby. Only in Miami.
Hey, Joe, that's a nice watch you're wearing.
Gracias, como está, George? And did you know that Joe is gringo for Jose?
Yes, and George is a Jorge.
And we're both nuclear physicists.
For a spot to be aired in Miami, we must first pander to the Hispanic community.
Oh, that's Russian, you thought.
Oh, that's right, Jose. Out-of-town agencies consult Miami businesses to advertise their products and services in a degrading stereotype.
That explains why our accents are so bad.
Listen, that is obligatory salsa music.
Of course. This must be the type of music all Latinos enjoy.
Play this on the radio spot, and you're certain to attract the attention of a Cuban.
Sure. It's all they know.
You know, I can say, what's your name in Cuban?
Really? Let's hear it.
Suchaho.
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 Ole!
Suchaho.
Ole!
Ole.
Ole!
Suchaho.
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 Suchaho. Ole!
Boy.
10:19 at 560. We got Miguel in here to translate for you this week. We're going to play a lot of those Julio bits.
Está bien.
So Michael Richards from what's the stupid show that he's on?
Well, he was on Seinfeld.
Oh, that's right. He used to be on Seinfeld, which,
What
like I
known
said,
for.
stupid show that I never watched. And now he's on some other stupid show. What is it?
I have no idea.
Kramer.
Well, Kramer was from Seinfeld, yes.
At any rate, he got a big... I beg your pardon, that was the character he played?
That's right.
Oh, I see. I never watched Seinfeld. I watched it once. That was more than enough for me. But he got into a big thing over some stand-up comedy act he did in L.A. and used the N-word and got all bent out of shape because some dark-complected guys in the audience started giving him a bunch of crap. And you're not so funny and blah, blah. And so he got carried away and stormed off the stage. And now there's a big to-do about that. Anybody care?
No.
No. I don't. If he walked in right now, I would have no idea who that is because I'm out of touch. And you know what? I'm glad to be out of touch. Just like these crazy people with their PlayStation 3. Everywhere in North America, not just in the U.S., but here in Canada too, same crap. Crazy people knocking each other over, shooting people in line because they got to get their PS3 and their Wii. The Wii came out yesterday, but that's kind of a Wii thing compared to PS3.
Wii.
And they're not buying it because they want to have it for their kids or for themselves or whatever. In most cases, they're buying it so they can make a profit off it, a quick few thousand on eBay. They're buying them for $500 or $600, and then they're selling them. Now they're going for $11,000 to $18,000 on eBay up here. $11,000 to $18,000. You can buy a car for that amount of money.
Saw one for $30,000.
About 30, man.
And what kind of a moron spends $30,000 on a PlayStation 3? Somebody with obviously way too much money.
Yes.
A-holes, every single one of them. If I sound a little bit porked off this morning, it's because I am. I really am. I'm PO'd with this crap. It's the same. It just wears you out. That's what this station does to you. That's what this business does, but especially this place.
Well, I'm porked off, too. I'm eating bacon.
I already had mine. They absolutely refuse to deal with like a business. This is like some kind of a game with them. Oh, that's right. How about the game? Whatever the game is, it's all about the game. I forgot. Sorry. Oh, look at this. The right-hand column of this story is chopped off. Miguel's thinking, that's good. That'll teach you to be reading all that crap on here. Too bad.
Learn how to print.
What?
To learn how to print.
Americans would have to sign up for a new military draft after turning 18 if the incoming chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, New York Democratic Representative Charles Rangel, said Sunday, gets his way. He sees his idea as a way to deter politicians from launching wars. There's no question in my mind that this president and this administration would never have invaded Iraq, especially on the flimsy evidence if we had had a draft and members of Congress and the administration thought their kids from their communities would be placed in harm's way, he said. Rangel, a veteran of the Korean War, who's unsuccessfully sponsored legislation on conscription in the past, said he'll propose something. It's chopped off on the right. So to hell with it, you know what I mean? Just what we need is to have the draft back. Maybe that might wake some bastards up, though, I think. I think he may have a good point there. Nice going, Charlie. I like Charlie a lot, but nevertheless. Speaking of people I like a lot, it was a good week for the Brady's this weekend. Tom Brady threw 4 touchdown passes yesterday against the pathetic Green Bay Packers right there in Green Bay in Lambeau Field. And Brady Quinn had a big day against another girls' team against Air Force. What did he throw, about 85 touchdown passes against Air Force for Notre Dame on Saturday?
Wasn't it Army?
No, it was Air Force. You better get your Notre Dame football straight now, mister, or Clarence is going to come in there and give you a whooping. Army my ass. I'll look it up.
I think it was Army.
I'm going to tell you right now it was Air Force.
It's the Marines.
It was like about 180 to nothing. How about that Ohio State-Michigan game? I missed it. Well, that must have been unbelievable, huh? I saw the highlights.
It was a good game, yeah.
Well, let's start talking about sports now, you idiot.
My bad.
Okay, how about Notre Dame?
Yeah, it was Army, wasn't it?
No, it was not. Boy, you are. You know, it's one thing bad enough to have George there, who I thought was the biggest hard ass in the world, but you're learning from him, obviously. I mean, as much as, George is wonderful and all the other things, the fact of the matter is he is the worst hard ass. You can't argue with him. No wonder his wife would like to stab him with a ballpoint pen.
Well, I will say that he was right about the little argument you guys were having, but I agree with you.
About what?
That he's a hard ass.
He was right about what?
Oh, he was right about
straight guys and hair?
Yeah, a lot of women these days, they're not down with that, so to speak. They won't give you the time o' day. Unless you're clean cut, if you will.
Time of what?
Gay.
Anyway, where the hell's the score? Football season, bada-beep, bada-boop, bada-bop, Michael Rosenberg. Notre Dame stinks. Look at that. I'm just Googled it, and here's one. It says Notre Dame stinks. Okay, Notre Dame football is what I was looking for. Christ. Wait a minute.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I'm wasting my time with this because I know it was Air Force, okay?
Okay, let's just go with that.
No, I'm not going with it. I want the score.
I'd look it up myself, but I'm trying, but you know how the connection is down here.
Yes, it's weak. It's like everything else in that place. It's really weak. Let's see. Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the official athletic site. Okay, here we go.
That'll have it.
Here's the week-by-week scores. Air Force won 39-17. They beat Air Force on Saturday, okay, schmuck?
Okay, there you go.
Had to get the audience all aggravated and waste all of that time because, like I said, like George...
Wait a minute. What did you just say?
What was that score?
39-17.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you said 139.
39 for Notre Dame, 17 for Air Force. Another one was, they always play those, military schools like Navy and Army, which once upon a time Navy was pretty good when Roger Staubach played there 100 years ago.
Yeah, 100 years ago.
I remember as a kid always every year watching the Army-Navy game, and now that I look back on it, I mean, why? Who the hell cares about those teams,
Well, yeah, now it's like watching junior high teams going on.
Exactly, like watching Little League game. But nevertheless, that's what we had, so that's what you'd watch. They put on there, like on Thanksgiving Day, people be watching the Lions and the Dolphins, two really horseball teams. Oh, you're wrong, Neil. The Dolphins they've won 3 in a row now. And
that's right, we're blessed down here again, don't you know?
I beg your pardon?
We are blessed down here again.
Are we blessed? I thought the Canes lost to Virginia on Saturday.
Well, the Dolphins have won.
I thought the Canes are 5-6, and now they're talking about Steve Spurrier. That's the rumor they're starting. No, he's going to leave South Carolina. We're talking sports again, okay?
No, they took a dump on those rumors.
I beg your pardon?
Steve Spurrier declined.
Yeah, he said El Paso, and who the hell wouldn't say El Paso? I'm going to tell you right now, the University of Miami is like an antichrist institution. Make no mistake about it. They're the antichrist. Everybody connected with it, there's sports programs, Paul D's, Donna Shalala, the whole thing. El Anticristo. I'm telling you right now. And as phony as a $42.50 bill. Who the hell did they play where they had about 15 people there? They had one crowd. Who was it, Rutgers or somebody? One of their little girls' teams.
No, they didn't play Rutgers this year.
Well, whoever the hell they played, they had some home game.
I'm interested to see how many people go on Thanksgiving. I'm going with about 10,000.
For Boston College?
Yeah.
Panthers and the Bruins tonight. Any interest?
No.
Now, is that game, it's at Boston, so I guess you're not going to be going. Although, I'd be honest with you, I'd rather be going to that. I'd like to be in Boston. Eating my brains out, having some of that great Boston food. Man,
Never been. Yet to go.
My. Good stuff. 662 votes. I don't think we'll make 1,000 today. That would be really bad. It's my bad for not putting it on there soon enough. Sorry, Eric. My bad. Not that he cares. He could care less. He's like George. He couldn't care less if we get like 1 vote or 1,000,000 votes. What does he care? Is he making any money off of it? No. 662 votes. The biggest regret by far, over a third, the ass I missed. All the action I missed. If I would have known then what I know now, Isn't that what life is really all about, wouldn't you say?
Pretty much.
And I have no regrets. We've already got 5. What an excellent choice. 5 people out there who are absolutely perfect.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Hurricane fucking blow!
Do you feel depressed? Are you sick of the Miami Dolphins?
Uh-huh.
Do you want something a little exciting for a change?
Then you gotta start watching the Miami Hurricanes! Yo, it's a football game, a boxing match, and a riot all wrapped up in one! Even our announcers are done with the cars!
That's what I'm talking about. You come into our house, you should get your behind kicked. You don't come in the OB playing that stuff. You across the ocean over there. You across the city. You can't come over to our place talking noise like that. You get your butt beat. I was about to go down the elevator and get in that thing.
Yo, so if you want real entertainment, check out the Miami Hurricanes. Ain't that right, baby?
Anyway, Notre Dame played Army on Saturday, I told you.
Oh, look at that, huh?
The week before they played Air Force and kicked their ass.
Well, you're living in the past.
Well, I'm just out of touch. I didn't watch it. You think I would watch a game like that?
Oh, you think I did? I just saw the score while I was watching the...
A few minutes after leading Notre Dame to a 41-9 rout of Army on Saturday, quarterback Brady Quinn went over to the student section to join the cheers. Beat SC, Quinn shouted, pumping his arm to keep the fans' rhythm. He was pumping it. Notre Dame coach Charlie Weiss agreed with the message, but added they could have been louder. What a clown, Charlie. Go have another sandwich. The Fighting Irish won their 8th straight to set up next weekend's showdown at number 4 Southern Cal, where a win would give Notre Dame a chance of playing Ohio State in the BCS national title game January 8th. Ohio State would kick their ass, I'll tell you that right now.
Wouldn't even be close.
The win over Army was the last home game for Quinn and the rest of the Notre Dame seniors, and it goes on. It's sports crap, okay? Well, we're doing that because obviously we're on a sports station. Still checked my Yahoo email there and didn't get a response from your buddy Joe Bell. And I'm not holding my breath, not expecting one. You know, if you look back at his tenure at this radio station, first of all, they put him in charge of power for a very short while, and then had to bring Greg back in because power went through the end of the toilet. Although I think we can blame Tanner for that. You know Miss Tanner?
Gay.
Because he put all that rigatoni music on over there at Power, and their numbers are sliding. Although numbers over here have been sliding, too, ever since Joe Bell came to town. Well, he didn't come to town, but came over on this side of the building from KISS, from down the street a ways. Our numbers, and they sat there like they were paralyzed month after month after month. And if we have any kind of a problem, no matter what it is, they just ignore us. That's the modus operandi with this new crew. They just, whether it's Chris Jones, a sales guy, whether it's a programming deal, they just ignore us like we don't exist.
Maybe they're hoping you'll forget.
Or maybe I'll just go back to bed and let you guys do the show. How's that? Maybe that'll get the message across to this nerd. No response to my email. Let me say, maybe a year from next Sukkot, maybe I'll get a response, but I doubt it. 680 votes on the poll. I told you Notre Dame beat Army on Saturday. Air Force was the week before. You're way behind. And you're also incorrect what you said about George, because the argument wasn't about whether guys trim their privates. That wasn't the argument.
No, I'm not just
the
talking
argument
about
was
privates.
he made the statement that young guys, like, say 18 to 25, who are hairless, must shave their body, their chest, their whatever. And that's bullcrap. There are millions and millions of young guys who don't have any hair in their upper body.
Of course, but
It's evolution, baby, and he is just intractable and immovable.
No, there are millions and millions of guys 18 to 25 that do shave their chests and arms. And
yeah, well, good for them. And if I find one of them, I'm going to look him right in the eye and say,
"You fairy!"
All depending on what he looks like. Can I tell you a little? I'll tell you a little fag story, as a matter of fact. Well, it's not a fag story, but it's just, me.
Gay.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there at Woodbine the other day playing my machine, and along comes this, I don't know whether they were Italian or whatever, because they were speaking in some foreign language, and I usually pick up my Italian when I hear it, but I don't know, unless it was some kind of strange dialect. Maybe they're from Sicilia or somewhere, I don't know. To make a long story short, so they grabbing three machines and playing next to each other. Now, the one was obviously the mother, the old lady, and then there was another one that she almost looked like a guy, one of the most homeliest, not ugly, but homely, you know what I mean?
I know.
When a woman is homely. Looked like a washerwoman, just really nasty looking. And then there was a hot young guy who wanted to play in the machine next to me, Italian guy or whatever he was. I wouldn't have cared what he was. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm getting nervous because it just I'm looking out of the corner of my eye. I'm thinking, like Miss Foley would say, I'm thinking, like that, So anyway, after quite a while, after about an hour of this, so the one that was the washerwoman looking one. She comes over, and she's, standing behind this kid that's sitting next to me, and now she's got her hands on his shoulders, and obviously, and then he puts his head up in the air, and she reaches over and kisses him on the lips, and I thought, oh, Jesus,
really?
God. Oh, it's the girlfriend, maybe the wife. There were no rings on, nevertheless. Could have been, who knows? It's the lady friend. I mean, I realize looks aren't everything. Otherwise, there are a lot of us be in big trouble. But, my God, I mean, Jesus, she looked like something I dropped in a bowl this morning. I mean, just unbelievable.
Couple
gruesome.
notches below the guy?
Huh?
Couple notches below the guy?
Many notches. He was many notches below Robert Grieper, okay? She was nasty, and I thought to myself, how is this possible, okay, that anybody... But, maybe they're from some foreign country where the women are all real ugly. I know Mama wasn't too much. Mama was nasty. And then Mama hit 1,000 on the wheel, and I thought to myself, you nasty old bitch. Anyway, it wasn't a great story, but it was a story,
Oh, sure.
Just more aggravation. And I'm thinking to myself, what a waste, what a total waste. You bitch, get out of here.
I think you're just mad because you wanted to rub his shoulders.
I would have liked that. Or something. 685 votes on the poll. We're not going to get to 1,000 today. I'm going back to bed. I'm so sorry that I got out of bed this morning and all. I just had a feeling. Because I noticed last night there was no audio coming through from down there. And once again, somebody... Wouldn't you think after all this time that they'd stop doing that?
No.
You mean turning off the pot that says, always leave this pot on?
Yeah, that's the one. And wouldn't you think that there'd be somebody in charge who would make sure that they stop doing that and find out what the hell the problem is there? But there is nobody in charge. This is it's like a runaway freight train, and there's no conductor. And we're wishing somebody would steal this freight train because it's the only way anybody's going to stop it. There is no conductor. There is nobody running the joint. And our illustrious program director, Clarence, a.k.a. Josh Darrow, he's, nobody knows where the hell he is. And where the hell did they play yesterday, the stupid-ass basketball team?
I believe they were in Indiana.
You sure they didn't play Army? They're in Indiana, and he isn't back yet.
That I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know what?
I know he's not here.
He's not in the station.
I don't know.
Well, listen, when you go to do a basketball game, you got to have at least 2-3 days off. And, of course, they played one game in the middle of last week. So that's at least 5 or 6 days he's got to have off, then plus the weekend. And this is Joe Bell's idea of a program director. And the reason that Clarence Darrow is still a program director is because he's got his head so far up Joyce's ass over there in Naples that it's going to come out of her ear one day. Something's going to pop right out of her ear. It's going to be Clarence's head. They're just enchanted with him over there. And you want to know why? Because he knows as much about radio as they do, which is nothing. They're in love with Clarence because he's their lackey. He's their anointed, appointed lackey. So as a result, that's what we got. You know, Pop had Duff. Look what we got. 691 votes on the poll. I think it's an excellent poll. How's that? I hate this poll coming. 10.2%. 71 votes. I hate this poll. Don't you guys think that's a pretty good poll?
I think so.
It's not mine. I'm not looking for any kudos. It's Sean's.
Good job, Sean.
What's your biggest regret? I should put on there, putting this poll up. 10% hate this poll. The ass I miss, 254, all that hanky-panky when I was younger, could have had. Could have been doing all kinds of good stuff. Too late now. That's one of my big regrets is that bitch at the Woodbine last night. Oh, God. I mean, I can't describe to you how gruesome she looked. She was like the end of the world. You wouldn't have touched her with a long, ugly stick, although somebody beat you to it. Never went to college, 81. I hate this poll, 72 up to 10.3%. Now they're doing that just to get to me. I think Clarence is doing it. He's probably tapping on it right now. Wish I'd been a better person, 72, and I can understand in many of your cases why. Getting married, 67. Bad mistake. Never found true love, 66. Oh. Doesn't that break your heart?
Oh, yeah.
Never bought a house. Look how many never bought a house.
About 30, man.
Don't do it. You'll regret that, too. Was a lousy son or daughter, 27. Having kids, 11. I have none, 8, and didn't graduate high school, only 6. Have no regrets, 8. 8 people out there that we can only sit around and just wish we were them.
The biggest names of best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
You call this big market radio?
No.
Wow, your fat ass is really comfortable.
Wow, your fat ass is doing wonders for my bad back.
Want to do something useful with your fat ass?
I could sleep on your fat ass all day.
Then why not put it to use?
Hey, you don't mind if my girlfriend sits on your fat ass too, do you?
As one of America's newest ass cushions, put your fat ass to use for the airlines and turn a coach seat into comfort class.
This is great.
By letting people sit on your fat ass, you'll be helping to improve people's days. On the bus, at the movie theater, even at the park.
Mommy, come bounce on this fat ass with me.
Put your fat ass to work today. Receive hourly wages, health benefits, and ho-hos. Call now and be proud to be a fat ass.
I already am. 14 before 11 at 560 WQM. We got Mad Dog at 2. The Power Hour with Hank and the Mad Dog between 4 and 5. Didn't I tell you? And there's another thing, because we had no program director in the building. And so on Friday, I'm sitting here the whole time saying, Jim Mandich at 2, yada, yada, yada. And then we had the story about Bo Schembechler croaked.
Yeah.
Now, did you notice that Curtis was on from 2 to 4?
No, I didn't.
Yes.
Because Mad Dog didn't work because Bo Schembechler died. And as a result, he was his good buddy. And he had to go, who knows what he did. Light candles or something or whatever.
Pay his respects.
But nobody bothered telling us about that, and I'm sitting here again having no clue what's going on, and that's because we have nobody in charge, Joe Bell. We have nobody running the programming end of your radio station. You silly person, you clown.
You fairy.
God. Anyway, Power Hour with the Hank and the Mad Dog at 4. I'm assuming, now, I don't know if he's back or not, and of course, we have no PD to change his schedule, even if he's not. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. Hank, 5 to 6:30, a tough hour and a half by himself, and then the Panther preview at 6:30. Panthers at the Bruins at 7 o'clock, and Eddie K. after the hockey game. For years, charities have rattled off everything from steaks and gift certificates to cars and houses to raise money. Did I say rattled off? Raffled off, whatever they've done. Now the Florida Lottery is turning to an old-fashioned raffle, and the carrot it is dangling is the best odds it's ever offered for a chance for you to win up to $1 million. You ready? You interested?
I'm ready.
You won't be when you hear what this is.
Oh, boy.
We're not talking about a $1 ticket, however. Tickets for the Holiday Millionaire raffle will cost $20 a piece, though that's not expected to dampen interest, says the Sun Sentinel.
What?
$20 a ticket. They went on sale 6 this morning. The game is supposed to run through December 30th.
About 30, man.
With a drawing on New Year's Day. But lottery officials expect the tickets to run out much earlier because only 1.25 million will be available.
Oh.
That's a handful of tickets compared with the 34 million sold in just 4 days in April before two people shared an $87.9 million lotto jackpot. Of course, those tickets sold for $1 apiece. We're hoping that they're going to sell out fast, lottery spokeswoman Shalisha Durden said of Holiday Millionaire. We don't think they'll last till December 30. If the interest shown by regular lottery players such as Alex Busada of Orlando provides any clue, they may not even last till Thanksgiving Day, which is only like 3 days away. The odds are really good, said Busada, who typically spends $40 to $50 twice a week playing the lotto. I think I'm going to spend like $300 on it, he said. Well, that's 15 tickets. Big deal. Lottery officials expect the biggest attraction to be in the unusually low odds. Now, wait till you hear this. The odds of winning $1 million are 1 in just 250,000, compared with 1 in 22,957,480 for the lotto jackpot. 1 in 250,000 compared with 1 in about 23 million. Ooh. Even winning the top prize of $500,000 in the $20 scratch-off game Gold Rush is a steep 1 in 2.5 million. 10 Holiday Millionaire tickets will win $1 million apiece, with $100,000 going to each of the next 20 tickets and $10,000 going to the next 100 tickets each. Based on all the tickets being sold, it'll generate $25 million, with the lottery paying out $13 million. Odds of winning $100,000 at the new game are 1 in 62,500, while the odds of winning $10,000 are a mere 1 in 12,500. Overall odds of winning are 1 in just 9,615. Oh, I'll take 100 tickets, easy. And Josh will pay for them. The raffle is patterned after similar games in Ohio and Pennsylvania, Durden said. Both were successful. If Florida's is successful, expect more versions of the raffle, she said. Now, it doesn't tell us here, by the way, if you're one of those millionaire things, there'll be 10 millionaires, whether they're going to give you the $1 million in cash. Of course, you're going to have to pay taxes on it, obviously, because in the States, you got to pay taxes even on your track winnings.
Right, yeah. I'm going to go with...
No.
And are they going to give it to you in one lump sum? Or can you get an annuity on it, like if you win the lottery? You know, like over the next 700 years, they'll give you like $10 a year. But it adds up like that. Really good bet. This is the same state, by the way, where your current fat-ass governor, who luckily in a couple of months will be gone, your current fat-ass governor is so negative on gambling because it's so evil, but the lotto's a really good bet. And the holiday thing is great. 725 votes on the pool. I think we can make 1,000. Oh, boy. Breathe a sigh of relief. And guess what? You know that email I sent?
Yeah.
Guess what?
I'm going to go with you got a response.
No.
Oh.
Bad guess. And it was Army, not Merchant Marines. What's wrong with you? They beat the Coast Guard the week before, whatever the score was. I said 37 to whatever.
Right.
And Army 41 to 9. Does anybody care about that?
No.
No. I hate Notre Dame like poison. I wish they would lose every game in every sport. Except, of course, well, McDonald's latest bid to attract more customers, Muslim fast food lovers, has caused an uproar among customers. The fast food chain has introduced halal products at 2 Melbourne restaurants, significantly boosting sales. That's not Melbourne, Florida, by the way. Don't get panicky now.
Oh.
That's Melbourne, Australia. However, some non-Muslim customers are furious they weren't told their hamburger meat was slaughtered and blessed in accordance. With Islamic rules laid down in the Koran. It would be like getting a kosher meal and then not being told it was kosher before you ate it. Like, who the hell, what difference does it make? Why would you be furious? Halal meat is from animals that have been killed facing Mecca and blessed using the name of Allah. Facing Mecca, Mr. Yaqub said. The store doesn't tell drive-thru customers about the change and has only one small sign inside advertising the move. Coburg resident Miriam McLennan was stunned to discover the hamburger she bought from the Brunswick East store was blessed. Just as a Muslim would want to eat anything that isn't halal, I should have my rights to eat normal, ordinary food that hasn't been blessed, she said. I think they ought to curse her food, that bitch. She wants to eat food that hasn't been blessed.
Put the cow facing the other direction.
Yeah, with her ass.
Rectum.
A Catholic Church spokesman said non-Muslims deserved to know if the food was halal before buying, but he said there was no biblical reason for Christians to avoid halal food. It's okay for Goyim. A McDonald spokeswoman said customers who didn't want halal food should buy from any of its other stores. There you go. Go to some other Mickey D's, okay, if you want tray food. If you want to burn in hell because you ate from a cow that had its ass faced toward Mecca or something like that. Or they put a big squat in Mecca. Isn't that something? They have to be slaughtered facing Mecca. And it's just like the kosher food, the same thing, like kosher chickens. And the rabbi has to, do a bracha over, I don't know, baruch atah, whatever. Just silly crap. But it's the whole world is like that, you know.
Yes.
Scott Schuster has a really good idea. He says, put impeachment back on the table.
Oh!
You go, Scott. He's a progressive columnist having written for WAD40.com since May of 2005. What the hell is WAD? Well, we don't know, and I don't care. It's on the Smirking Chimp. Oh, Josh, by the way, wants to apologize. He was out of town this weekend.
Oh, no.
Don't you want to apologize?
That wasn't my fault, but yeah, I'll
Whose fault was it?
Well, it was nobody's. There was a problem with the file transfer program that uploads the stories.
Yeah.
And Eric got that fixed, and we were...
So on Saturday... Wait, was it Saturday or was it for yesterday?
No, it was for Saturday.
Yesterday. What?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. It was.
No, it's for yesterday.
Right.
Because almost nobody read the stories yesterday. Look at it. 63 people read the most read story, and at least 11. So you went through all of that work, and I went through all of that work to send you all those stories, so that just a handful, you could fit them in that room right there.
Well, go read them now, everybody.
Yeah, go read the ones from yesterday while you're reading the ones from today, okay? Because Josh apologized for... and again, it wasn't his fault. He was trying to do the best to do his duty, but he screwed up. I mean, it was somebody's fault. Scott Schuster says, as much as I've despised the Bush neoconservative cabal in the White House over the past 6 years, I was truly taking the wait-and-see approach in terms of President Bush's behavior in the post-11/7 world. I was right there with Speaker-elect Pelosi that the new Democrat-controlled Congress should progress forward with initiatives that will help the American people rather than bog Congress down with nonstop impeachment hearings that might make the Democrats look vindictive and possibly even risk the chances of capturing the White House in 2008. Even in my last article, Scott says, I was advocating a cautious approach. I was willing to give the President the benefit of the doubt, a chance to realign himself to the mandate of the American people. I was willing to wait and see what he did when the Democrats put legislation in front of him to sign that he's habitually opposed, such as raising the minimum wage or federal spending on embryonic stem cell research. Would he finally sharpen his veto pencil or concede to the will of the American people? In the last 9 days since the election, Bush's behavior has made it such that I must advocate for impeachment as soon as possible.
Oh!
This special Iraq report from the UK's Guardian is clearly the straw that broke my camel's back for the umpteenth time. The American people have clearly spoken that we are not in favor of continuing to fuel this disgrace in Iraq, yet Bush is now preparing to send in 20,000 more troops for one last big push. The last time Bush increased troop strength in Iraq, the level of violence and body counts all rose. All he did was give them more targets. If George W. Bush had any common sense, which we know he doesn't, he would listen to all the experts telling him that the solution to this crisis is political, not military. The solution to this crisis is to resolve the problems, not wait it out till you can declare victory, all the while laying down a blanket of divisiveness with rhetoric of evil, enemies, and winning. Clearly, George W. Bush is not the man to resolve this problem. His arrogance will not allow him to change his strategy because, in his mind, that would be defeat. No more Mr. Nice Guy for me. I say impeach this bastard and his evil vice president so that this world can move on. Impeach this bastard. We can't wait another 2 years, says Scott Schuster. And I say...
Absolutely correct, sir.
Let's get on it.
Amen.
What is Barack Obama on CNN? You see he's getting a lot of press time.
Star among
That's your next president, I'm telling you right now. I guess both of you probably doubt that.
I do.
You doubt it?
Yes.
What about you, Miguel? Barack in 2008?
Nah, not yet.
You'll see. And by the way, it wasn't Air Force, it was Army.
The biggest names of best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
This is the Neil Rogers Show. This is your brain. Any questions?
Picking up where Brigitte Nielsen and Flava Flav left off. It's VH1's newest reality show, Stranger Love, with George W. Bush and John Kerry.
Hey, John. You look very handsome tonight.
Why, thank you, George. And you look absolutely winsome.
Well, you win some and you lose some.
I love a man with a sense of humor. What do you say we dim the lights and play a little Abu Ghraib?
I'll get the leash.
It's all on the next episode of VH1's Stranger Love.
So I got an email response finally from your general manager, Joe Bell. So somebody here, somewhere in the mix, is full of crap. And, of course, as usual, it's probably Clarence. Now, let's find out from Miguel. Did somebody tell you that you were supposed to be there today through Wednesday?
No.
Because the message I got was that Clarence had already talked to Josh Cordes and Miguel about the fact Miguel was going to be there today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And, of course, on Friday, obviously.
No, just Friday.
So, in other words, there hadn't been any arrangements for anybody to be there today. Is that what you guys are telling me? Is that what you're saying? Is that Clarence is full of crap, as usual?
I'm not saying that either.
Maybe there was a misunderstanding. Maybe because I said that Miguel was coming in on Friday because I'm not going to be here.
Yeah.
He maybe thought that Miguel was doing the entire week.
No, that's not what the email says, okay? But nevertheless, I don't want to say that Clarence is full of crap and that he's like losing it because he's got other more important priorities like Hurricane basketball as opposed to being the program director, and that Joe Bell, no matter what Clarence tells him, is always going to say, oh, well, Clarence told me this. You know, that's what we're dealing with here. It's a hopeless situation. So you know what? Good luck to both of them. 11:03 at 560 WQM. I'm just, it's just unacceptable is what it is. You know, the audience is saying, what's he bitching about again today? What's going on over there? I wish to hell we knew, okay? You know, a guy goes on vacation. George works his ass off. He, you know, being a hard ass. He deserves his vacation time like anybody else. And so, you know, as a result, we need to have somebody in there, play the spots, and sit there and, you know, sing Cuban melodies to himself. Yeah, there he goes. William Odom in the Madison Capital Times says cut and run must be the first step in Iraq. I'm gonna go plow through these bedtime stories. I'm gonna read like 5,000 today. You know.
Plow away.
So you're gonna be there tomorrow and Wednesday, Miguel. That's what Clarence says he told you already. Told both you guys that.
Okay, sure.
And as usual, he's full of crap.
No problema.
Because I see the way it worked this morning is that there wasn't going to be anybody there because Josh had to call Miguel to get his ass in there because Clarence is too busy with this UM basketball crap. I say let's take UM basketball and flush it down the toilet. What do you say? Flush it fast. Now, let's see. When do we got the next game? Is he going to be leaving town again today?
Maybe they'll have a home game coming up next.
Wow. Let me tell you. Oh, we got Hurricane Hoops on Saturday. UM and Lafayette. That should get a tremendous tune-in audience. UM and Lafayette. Woo! Heavy, heavy duty. What the hell is Lafayette?
It's a college.
William Odom, and by the way, it was Air Force. Cut and run must be the first step in Iraq. He says the U.S. upset the regional balance in the Mideast when it invaded Iraq. Restoring it requires bold initiatives, but cutting and running must precede them all. Only a withdrawal of all U.S. troops within 6 months and with no preconditions can break the paralysis that enfeebles our diplomacy, and the greatest obstacles to cutting and running are the psychological inhibitions of our leaders and the public. Our leaders don't act because their reputations are at stake. The public doesn't force them to act because it's blinded by the president's conjured set of illusions that we're reducing terrorism by fighting in Iraq, creating a democracy there, preventing the spread of nuclear weapons, making Israel more secure, not allowing our fallen soldiers to have died in vain and others. But reality no longer can be avoided. It's beyond U.S. power to prevent sectarian violence in Iraq, the growing influence of Iran throughout the region, the probable spread of Sunni Shiite strife to neighboring Arab states, the eventual rise to power of the anti-American cleric Muqtada al-Sadr or some other anti-American leader in Baghdad, and the spread of instability beyond Iraq. These realities get worse every day that our forces stay in Iraq. They can't be wished away by clever diplomacy or by leaving our forces in Iraq for several more years. The administration could recognize that a rapid withdrawal is the only way to overcome our strategic paralysis. Kind of reminds me of what's going on at QM. It's like a paralysis. Although that appears unlikely, he says. Congress could force a stock-taking. Failing this, the public sooner or later will see through all the White House's double talk and compel a radical policy change. The price for delay, however, will be more lives lost in vain. Some lawmakers are ready to change course but are puzzled as to how to leave Iraq. The answer is 4 major initiatives to provide regional stability and calm in Iraq. They'll leave the U.S. less influential in the region, but it'll be the best deal we can get. First, the U.S. must concede that it has botched things, cannot stabilize the region alone, and must let others have a say in what's next. As U.S. forces begin to withdraw, Washington must invite its European allies, as well as Japan, China, and India, to make their own proposals for dealing with the aftermath. Russia can be ignored because it'll play a spoiler role in any case. Rapid troop withdrawal and abandoning unilateralism will have a sobering effect on all interested parties. Al-Qaeda will celebrate, but find that only its current allies, Iraqi Baathists and Sunnis, no longer need or want it. Iraq will crow, but soon begin to worry that its Kurdish minority may want to join Iraqi Kurdistan, and the Iraqi Baathists might make a surprising comeback. I think all of them need a good bath. Although European leaders will probably try to take the lead in designing a new strategy for Iraq, they won't be able to implement it. This is because they won't allow any single European state to lead the handicap they faced in trying to cope with Yugoslavia's breakup in the 1990s. Nor will Japan, China, or India be acceptable as a new coalition leader. The U.S. could end up as the leader of a new strategic coalition, but only if most other states invite it to do so. The second initiative is to create a diplomatic forum for Iraq's neighbors. Iran, of course, must be included. Washington should offer to convene the forum, but must be prepared to step aside if other members insist. And third, the U.S. must informally cooperate with Iran in areas of shared interest. Nothing else could so improve our position in the Middle East. The price for success will include dropping U.S. resistance to Iran's nuclear weapons program. This will be as distasteful for U.S. leaders as cutting and running, but it's no less essential. That's because we do share vital common interests with Iran. We both want to defeat al-Qaeda and the Taliban. Iran hates both of them. We both want stability in Iraq. Iran will have influence over the Shiite Iraqi South regardless of what we do, but neither Washington nor Tehran wants chaos. And we can help each other when it comes to oil. Iran needs our technology to produce more oil, and we simply need more oil. By the way, you notice just when the Thanksgiving holiday is getting here, now that the election's over, gas prices are going up again. Just a coincidence.
Yes, they are.
Accepting Iran's nuclear weapons is a small price to pay for likely benefits. Moreover, its nuclear program will proceed whether we like it or not. Accepting it might well soften Iran's support for Hezbollah. It will definitely undercut Russia's pernicious influence with Tehran. And fourth, real progress must be made on the Palestinian issue as a foundation for Middle East peace. The invasion of Iraq and the U.S. tilt toward Israel have dangerously reduced Washington's power to broker peace or to guarantee Israel's security. We now need Europe's help, and good relations with Iran would help dramatically. No strategy can succeed without these components. We must cut and run tactically in order to succeed strategically. The U.S. needs to restore its reputation so that its capacity to lead constructively will cost us less, says William Odom, senior fellow at the Hudson Institute and a professor at Yale University, where some guys get a gentleman's C. I don't want to mention no names. So basically what you guys are telling me is that Clarence is full of crap. Is that what you're telling me? I just want to make sure I get that, okay, before I respond to that last insipid email?
That's your interpretation, yes.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Because we said no such thing.
What did you say? I want you to spell it out for me again.
I said there was probably a little confusion over me saying that Miguel is coming in by that.
What a couple of real wimps. Nobody's got any balls in this damn station except a couple of us. Me being one. 762 votes on our poll today, and a great poll, if I do say so, from Sean. What's your biggest regret? 762 votes. The ass I missed went 281 along the way. All the action I missed. The ass is so crass, you know. But that's Sean, you know. That was his verbiage. Ass. Maybe he's got an obsession with
rectum.
Ass. See, if a straight guy says something about ass, then, of course, it's like we know exactly what that is. But if somebody who's, you know, right away conjures up that image, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Never went to college, 89. Wish I'd been a better person, 77. I hate this poll, 73, down to 9.5%. Well, isn't that sweet, huh? Down to 9.5%. I never found true love, 72. Getting married, 69. Never bought a house, 32. Was a lousy son or daughter, 29. I have no regrets, 23. We are so envious of those people, aren't we? And we also think they're full of crap. Yes, they have no regrets. Can you imagine living, I mean, maybe if you're like 5 years old. Cut the crap. And didn't graduate high school, only 6. Well, you think this intellectual crowd, we don't have people that graduate high school? Come on, let's get serious. Let's get real. Okay? Let's get real. That's what I'm telling you, Joe Bell. Let's get real, but it's never going to happen because he takes all his marching orders from Clarence. There's the guy, Clarence and Robert Creeper and the Beast. That's the triumvirate that's running the radio station, which is why we're down to like fractions in certain day parts. And, of course, it only took them, 9 or 10 months before they finally straightened the schedule out and got some of that swill off the air. But nevertheless, it doesn't make any difference because we all get paid on payday. So what am I getting so excited about, right? Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Just calm down. Don't get all whipped up and bent out of shape just because Clarence is in it. Because we're going to be going through months of this anyway, and obviously there's no interest whatsoever on the part of management to do anything about it. The fact that we're like stepchildren the rest of the week. And Clarence says this, and Clarence said that, and bada-beep, bada-boop, bada, and the life goes on. Some people march to a different drummer. If you're going to march, take care of your feet, man. You know, yesterday we had the Santa parade here. Aren't you excited? Aren't you depressed you missed that?
Oh, yeah.
Probably one of your great regrets is you missed the Santa parade. It's an annual event for 102 years they've been doing that. Sure glad I missed that.
To Africa and get the baby. Unless you are a middle-income, average, everyday American family, we don't give you the baby, but we do give one to Sting. The line to get the baby from Africa is currently 22 years long, much like the line to get on El Toro at Six Flags. Unless you are Jennifer Aniston, then you can use the celebrity drive-thru window and order up whatever you need. Come to Africa, where the weather is hot and dry, and the babies don't hardly cry, probably because we give them the camel milk, which seems to quiet them. It's easy to get a baby in Africa, unless you are an average Simba or Mufasa, or in your country how you say, Dick or Jane. But if you are Lisa Gibbons, Deborah Norville, or Tempest Bledsoe, it's no problem. Come to Africa, where some people question why we only give babies to famous people, and everyone else has to wait until their eyes fall out. We say this to you, it's a business. Let's say you are an accountant. You would much rather have the business of meatloaf than, say, Ralph from Kearney, New Jersey. See? That's okay. Come to Africa, Clay Aiken. Come to Africa, Lance Bass. Come to Africa, Jim McGreevy. Come to Africa, drummer of Band Cutting Crew. We give you the baby. No questions asked. But if you're not famous, the line for the baby starts in Portugal. And please, no cutting in line, or we shoot you. This has been a message from the AAA, the African Adoption Association.
So I responded to Joe Bell's email. I sent him another one, very brief and to the point. I said, I give up. And I said that Josh and Miguel both said that Clarence is a compulsive liar who should rot in hell. No, I didn't say that.
Well, that's nice.
It's not exactly the way you said. I'm just paraphrasing. I just do give up. I'll give up, Joe, okay? You and Clarence have a great life together, okay? Obviously, they got a little something going. You know, remember Henry Kissinger, that evildoer who's wanted for murder?
Mm-hmm.
Military victory is no lie. And this is the guy that was consulting, we found out, from the Woodward book, that was consulting with Bush and Cheney on a regular basis. Military victory is no longer possible in Iraq, former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger said in a TV interview broadcast yesterday. A lunatic. Kissinger presented a bleak vision of Iraq, saying the U.S. government must enter into dialogue with Iraq's regional neighbors, including Iran, if progress is to be made in the region. If you mean by military victory an Iraqi government that can be established and whose writ runs across the whole country, that gets the civil war under control and sectarian violence under control in a time period that the political processes of the democracies will support, I don't believe that's possible, he told the BBC. But Kissinger, an architect of the Vietnam War, has advised President Bush about Iraq, warned against the rapid withdrawal of coalition troops, saying it could destabilize Iraq's neighbors and cause a long-lasting conflict. This is the same Henry Kissinger who said the only possible exit strategy was victory. And now he says victory is no longer possible in Iraq. Uh-huh. A dramatic collapse of Iraq, whatever we think about how the situation was created, would have disastrous consequences for which we would pay for many years and which would bring us back one way or another into the region, he said. Kissinger, whose views have been sought by the Iraqi Study Group, led by James Baker III, called for an international conference bringing together the permanent members of the UN Security Council, Iraq's neighbors, including Iran, and regional powers like India and Pakistan to work out a way forward for the region. I think we have to redefine the course, but I don't think the alternative is between military victory as defined previously or total withdrawal, he said. In other words, like that. The same architect of the nightmare in Vietnam. That sounds really good to me. Did such a good job there and lied through his teeth to the American people about Cambodia and all the other thousands and millions of people who got slaughtered. One of the great butchers of all time, and they're consulting him on how we bring this to a conclusion.
Of course.
In perhaps the most effective act of nonviolent protest in the 6-year Palestinian uprising, hundreds of Gazans forced Israel over the weekend to call off airstrikes on the residence of a militant leader by swarming the house as human shields. In recent months, Israeli security forces have used telephone calls to warn Palestinian militants and others near alleged militant safe houses and weapons caches, giving them up to a half an hour to evacuate. Sometimes you need a half an hour to evacuate, you know what? Especially if you had like a big Thanksgiving meal the night before. When militia leader Mohammed Baroud got the call Saturday, on Shabbos no less, he enlisted neighbors to protect his house from the Israeli military. They've now set up a system of shifts to protect the house around the clock. Palestinian leaders are hailing this as a moral victory that will be replicated. If so, it may herald a significant tactical shift from attacks by the tiny secretive militant groups to nonviolent civilian protest, a change that will force Israel to adjust its strategy. It also underscores the difficulty of fighting militant groups embedded in a civilian population, whether it be Iraq, Afghanistan, or Gaza. The Palestinians are creative, and this is something amazing, says Mahir Mikdad, a Fatah spokesman. Maybe in the past 6 years of the Intifada, the focus was on military resistance. But we shouldn't deny the importance of peaceful resistance. There is an importance in increasingly peaceful struggle. An Israeli army spokesman who spoke on condition of anonymity said the attack was scrapped after the military realized that dozens of Palestinians were demonstrating on the roof of Mr. Baroud's home. Having backed down, Israel's military might have to rethink its methods of striking at militant targets. Israel's army prefers attacking from the air to risking soldiers' lives by sending infantry and armored units on raids. And the advance warning of raids is meant to avoid civilian casualties, the Israeli military said. You know, just like they did in Lesbianon, with all those cluster bombs. Avoid those civilian casualties at all costs, baby. But now, less than 2 weeks after the killing of at least 20 Palestinians in northern Gaza brought a storm of international criticism against Israel, this tactic may have backfired by creating the risk of even more innocent victims. This is definitely a problem, says the Army spokesman. The reason why we warn ahead is to avoid innocent injuries. Instead, they're using the warning to do what they did yesterday. We'll see how we can deal with it, he said. All right. Let's kill them lightly, is what I say. Kill all those militants lightly.
Right.
We got 777, by the way, on the MySpace page. Aren't you proud of that?
That's very good.
You got an old buddy on there, too, now.
Who's that?
Rick.
Rick?
Rick Shaw.
I thought you were going to say Rick Riley. I thought you were being sarcastic. Rick Shaw's on our MySpace page?
Right next to KJ.
One moment, please. I'm looking it up. Oh, look at that. It was Army this week, 41-9.
Hey, didn't I tell you?
You're full of crap. I'm sure that Clarence told both of you guys. Miguel works Monday through Wednesday and Friday. Not.
Hey, don't forget Thursday.
What about Thursday? Thursday's Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah,
we aren't showing up on Thursday. You know something?
Yeah,
I think I might
I
not show up on Friday either. I might just not show up on Friday.
I'll just rerun the real pregame.
Because I think Clarence told me I don't have to work on Friday. Isn't that what he said? Oh, 778. We got another one now. 778. That's really great. Clarence, you should only rot in hell, okay? You sniveling lunatic. And anybody who associates with him. Okay, now where do I find it?
Just look at your friends list there, and right next to KJ.
Oh, there's Rick Shaw, Ricky Ticky. I clicked on it, and what does it say? It says, 68 years old. He's older than I am? Good God, are you old, Rick? Holy moly. Woo! Lives in Fort Lauderdale. Rick is in your extended... What does it say about me? I had an amazing youth. Being one of four. I don't want to read the whole thing. 3 boys and a girl. And it goes on. I'm going to read that during the break, or maybe not. I'm just pleased to know that there's actually somebody on here older than me in the market. That's good, although I'm not re-upping, man. Forget about those talks with Norma, okay, Joe? I don't want no more part of you. In fact, I still got 2 years and a couple of months to go. I don't think so. I'm thinking going out to Woodbine every day for a couple of months would be a good idea, you know? Seeing my Italian friend. Oh, boy. Man, if you could even begin to imagine what I was thinking when that nasty... man.
Now this is like a good-looking guy with a lagoon creature? Is that pretty accurate? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's just sitting there playing the machine next to me. You know, it's not like I've got my hand on his leg or anything like that. Oh, it sounds like a good idea. But on his shoulder. I could have walked away and said, hey, put my arms on his shoulders and give him a little rub down and said, hey, good luck, Pally. And like that, you know. But here comes this nasty, cretinish-looking thing.
Maybe she's got the money.
That could be it.
That's a good
Like
point.
I said, good move, Pally. Maybe she's got... Oh, no, actually, he kept giving her the money. She kept losing, and he handed her another 20, another 20.
He inherited the money, maybe.
You mean from her side of the family?
The fam.
I see. Maybe like in, in the movie Match Point.
That's right.
Although I got news for you.
Sometimes you got to pull out a shotgun or two.
The chick he married in Match Point was phenomenal compared to this one.
Well,
I mean, if you stepped in a pile of cow manure, okay, and looked at the bottom of your shoe, that would be delectable compared to this chick. I mean, she invented ugly, this broad. She looked like something from the Stone Age. Just bad, really bad. But nevertheless, hey, listen, to each its own. And maybe she's really great in the sack or something like that.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Well, if you are an old-timer and you don't want to get Alzheimer's, there's a brand new wonder drug that's come along. Ask your grandson if you can use his bong. My doctor just called me on the phone. The elderly must get stoned. Well, get stoned before the early bird buffet. You'll sit there and you'll eat Jell-O all day. Get stoned and drive even slower in your car. Get stoned and watch the Jeopardy Wheel of Fortune hour. Does Medicare cover homegrown? The elderly must get stoned.
All right.
11:32 at 560 WQM. We got Mad Dog at 2, I think. Do we have any definitive word on that? Do we know, is he back from the Schembechler death, the funeral, whatever? Do we know if he's on? We don't know. See, that's another part of the puzzle here, is that we don't have a program director on premises, so we have no idea. We didn't know that he wasn't going to be there on Friday, and we don't know if he's going to be here today, so stay tuned, okay? Stick around and find out.
All right.
Or not, as the case may be. Whatever you
I'm
want.
on your MySpace, and I'm playing around. I can't stop playing around with this click and drag George W. Did you see this?
I beg your pardon?
Somebody sent you a nice click and drag George W. on your
Well,
MySpace.
click it and drag it.
That's right.
Ray, a chronic, oh, brother. Oh, Ray is the guy from University Dodge that we always blame Beaucamp for. Must be one of Kimba's buddies. Says, you have getting married on the poll. Why not getting divorced? Well, snap your fingers, Ray, and there it is. Getting divorced. Got it?
Got it.
Add it to our poll. Now somebody faxes, which I'd already seen this because I read Jicka's questions and answered every Sunday, because once in a great while there might be something about radio, and this week there were 2 of them. How do you like that? So somebody faxes it to me like I needed this like a hole in the head. Like I need more silly emails. I got another email back from Joe Bell who says, we're going to take care of that mess in the studio and bye-bye. How many years has that been now? Ever since day one that we started in that studio?
Pretty much. I mean, I've been on the
Since
show for
the
about
first day that we sat down in that studio, every Monday morning is like a living hell. It's like Humpty Dumpty trying to put the pieces back together again because you got a bunch of children in there over the weekend, and it's like the playroom. The Neil Rogers studio is the playroom. And they come in there, and they use that to, whatever, we got like 2 games on at the same time. What did we have on yesterday besides the UM basketball game?
that's it that they were doing out of here, probably.
Well, why the hell did they have to do it out of there? Why can't they do that out of the control room?
Listen, that's not a question for me.
Or for me to ask. That's right. We're just making trouble again. There you guys go again. You guys are so much freaking trouble, man. But I've been told for the umpteenth time now that that's going to be addressed, and just like shutting the pot off to cut the audio off up here, which every time you think that there's, it's finally over with and you get a little bit comfortable, all of a sudden, oh, surprise, bunch of children are around, and that's basically what it is. It's little boy radio. That's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with sports radio. And speaking of sports radio, here's the question to Ajika yesterday. I hate the Sid Rosenberg show on the ticket. It says, every other word from Sid's mouth is New York. He never speaks kindly about the local sports team. Well, who the hell would? I want to hear about sports, not the constant New York this and New York that, with an occasional male chauvinistic remark. Maybe his show is successful with the New York crowd, but he's been here for some time now, so you'd think he would at least mention a local high school team or event. He gets on the people here as being homers, but he's got to be the biggest exiled New York homer on the radio. Boog Shambi is also from New York, but he doesn't come off as Mr. New York like Sid does. Boog is more professional and sees the bigger picture. I got news for you. If Boog saw the bigger picture, he'd be the radio voice of the Mets right now, and he'd get the hell out of that market, out of that station. But nevertheless, so Tommy's answer is, wait till you hear this. Your criticisms have validity. However, there are a lot of transplanted New Yorkers here who don't mind a break from the overkill of dolphin talk elsewhere on the station. It was disgraceful that the World Series was joined in progress so that the 2-hour nightly dolphin talk show didn't have to be shortened. Did you know they did that over there across the street?
Sounds like them.
Bush League, just like us. What's more, Sid is a professional broadcaster, oh my God, which is not the case with several hosts on his station and its rival, WQM AM 560. We have several unprofessional broadcasters.
Well,
I'll go along with that.
Says.
I beg your pardon?
That's what Tommy says.
Bottom line, there are about 85 stations in South Florida. If Sid turns you off, turn him off. That's what Tom says. And I would agree with that. If you don't like him, don't listen to him, that's all. I hate the Sid Rosenberg show. It starts CD in Coconut Creek. Well, turn it off, okay, whoever the hell you are. And quit with a bellyache and meh, meh. Then the other one here that has to do with radio, which is really shocking, it says, I was wondering if you know what happened to Eric Brandon, who used to be a DJ on Magic, speaking of Rick Shaw, on Magic 102.7. Email from JC. Tommy's answer, Eric got caught in a staff reduction at Magic. He's rebuilding his career, starting with a fishing show on WQM from 7 to 9 a.m. Saturdays. We have a fishing show with Eric Brandon?
Yes, we do. I've seen him because I'm here on Saturday.
Is he a good guy?
I don't know.
I know he's got a really good FM voice, Eric Brandon.
Yes, he does.
He and his wife also were featured in a recent episode of the ABC reality show Wife Swap, although Eric feels the way he was represented had nothing to do with reality.
Yeah,
well,
I happened to see that show.
You did?
And if that's the real Eric Brandon, which I'm not saying it is because I don't know him, but if it is, he's a crazy person.
Well, he's working for us, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Well, you should have already known that. So let's see. We got getting divorced on there. Let me click the thing. Make sure that we got it on there. Get Ray all pacified. Ray, who's a chronic faxer. God. I don't see it. Did we put getting divorced on the poll?
Oh, I didn't hit submit.
Well, you've had a really rough weekend. You know what? I think you're a little off your feet this weekend. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you're the one, if Josh Darrow didn't tell you that Miguel was... Of course, how the hell could he if he didn't tell Miguel? Is Miguel supposed to know, like, by automatic pilot, that he's supposed to come in today through Wednesday? It seems to me you had to call Miguel today and beg and plead with him to come in.
I think that's what
happened. He said, I don't want to sit in there while the old man's reading all those stupid-ass stories. Isn't that what he said?
That's what he said.
That's a quote.
He hates this. And you know what? I could care less, you know? I'm not programming you. I'm programming to a bunch of politically oriented old fossils, okay? You know what that reminds me of? Speaking of people I look at in the casino. You know, I go and take a pee every now and then because they keep feeding you those diet sodas. And as I'm walking around and walking through the place, and there's people of all ages, but yes, there are many, many old crusty people like me.
Playing the slots, right?
There are lots of, let me say it again, many, many young people of all ages. But at any rate, and I'll see some, like, nasty-looking old fart. You know what I mean? Like a guy looks like really sour look on his face, like he hates life and maybe he's losing his ass, whatever, or both. And I'll think to myself, man, what a miserable old fart. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, he probably thinks the same thing about me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, probably.
Is that what old farts think about when they see other old farts?
I mean, do you walk around with, like, the sourpuss look on your face?
No, I do not. Even if I'm losing my ass, I just walk around kind of like with a blank look on my face, like, oh, you know.
Well, maybe they're just like, hey, look at that old guy instead of that old grumpy guy.
I do think that. I still look at senior citizens as old farts. And, of course, now I'm an old... I don't think that ever changes. You know, I mean, your perspective on life in your brain, regardless of what your body is doing, your brain doesn't change that much. I'm trying to give you guys a little bit of lesson in life, okay, so you'll know later on when you get to be really old farts.
I'm taking notes.
I'm just telling you right now. You still think, even if you're an old fart yourself, oh, my God, look at that old fart. Looks like 100 years old, you know. And I'm sure that there's many of the younger people that are looking at me and thinking, look at that old fag, you know, like that.
Like that guy next to you getting his shoulder.
He was probably thinking that. No, actually, he was fairly friendly. He kept giving me a wink and reaching over and grabbing my knee. No, he didn't.
He wanted your money, too.
I beg your pardon?
He wanted your money, too.
He could have had some. I don't want to go through that again. It wasn't that good, okay? It was okay. He would have done just fine. He would have put a smile on my old face. I'm just trying to tell you that even when you get to be 100 years old, just like these people who say, well, what's that old guy doing with some 20-year-old hot chick? You know,
Money.
it's just, what?
Money. That's what the old guy's doing with the hot chick. He's rich.
But you're totally missing the point of what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is that, just like with what's her name, that bitch Anna Nicole, the same thing. He was how old was he? Like 90-something?
God, he was
late 80s, I think.
He was older. He was older than Methuselah's grandfather. But in spite of the fact that when he turned 140, his taste didn't change. Okay, he still wanted the hot young thing. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
See.
20 till noon. I have no idea what I'm talking about. And what are we going to do about those Brady Quinn pictures there on our website? We're going to leave those there interminably or what? Yes.
Probably not.
Probably will. Till I find somebody else to put up there. We can't put any hot naked chicks on here because we don't all want to go to jail. That's why.
It's a double standard.
Yeah. Well, he's not naked yet.
Well, he's topless, right?
Yeah. So let's put some topless chicks on there. I don't
agree.
understand that. If a guy, breasts aren't per se sex organs, okay?
I agree with you.
Well, so let's have some breasts on there. Not necessarily connected to anything, just breasts.
I'll find the pictures.
Find some breasts. No face, because if we put the face on there, then it's like a real person. But if it's just breasts by themselves.
Just Photoshop the neck off.
There you go. Just crop it.
Whose boobies are these? We can make a game out of it.
That's a good idea. Whose boobies are these? But then if we tell them, then we got a problem. 19 till noon at 560 WQM. As a matter of fact, Brady looks like he's got the boobies himself there when you come right down to it. That's what happens with some muscle-bound guys. And then when he gets older, see what I'm saying?
He's all roided out.
You think he's on roids?
Without question.
Or maybe he's got bad roids. Maybe a little all those rumors might be true. You know, I don't want to get started with Hank Guerrero or that sales department again, but there are so many issues and everything is like always up in the air at QM. Like Superman, it's up in the air. It just never, ever gets resolved.
Throw in the towel, man.
Okay, see ya. And if I throw in the towel, what are you going to do? Oh, that's right. You got that QM website to fall back on. And you can probably already go back to the Marlins even after you said Dave Van Boring's wig. It was the worst hairpiece you ever saw in your life.
My God, your breasts are beautiful.
Boobs a lot. Gotta like boobs a lot. Really like boobs a lot. Gotta like boobs a lot. Boobs a lot, boobs a lot. Gotta like boobs a lot. Down in the locker room, just three boys. Beating down the locker room with all that noise. Singing, do you like boobs a lot? Gotta like boobs a lot. Boobs a lot, boobs a lot. Gotta like boobs a lot. Do you wear your jock a lot? Yes, I wear my jock a lot. Got to wear your jock a lot. Gotta wear your jock a lot. Jock a lot, jock a lot. Gotta wear your jock a lot. Got to wear your jock a lot. Gotta wear your jock a lot. Down on the football field, you never can tell what a heel can wheel. So you gotta wear your jock a lot. Gotta wear your jock a lot. Jock a lot, jock a lot. You gotta wear your jock a lot. If I had a flag along, if I had a flag along, if I had a long flag along, if I had a long flag along, if you like boobs a lot, tag along. BB Bobby boob a lot. Gotta like boobs a lot, boobs a lot, boobs a lot. Gotta like boobs a lot. They're big and round. They're all around. They're big and round.
Rock
they're
solid.
All around.
think that's what we'll do, and not in addition. I mean, not in lieu of. We'll keep Brady's picture up there, obviously, for obvious reasons, and getting a tremendous viewing on that too. By the way, Brady Quinn. Well, all the straight guys want to take a look at what a real guy looks like.
That's right.
The guy that shaves his chest and his arms and his ass and his
rectum,
privates. But I think just some boobs on there would be good, because there are many, many guys, as you know, who are just into big boobs. They don't care if they're connected to Elsie the Borden Cow. It's just like there are gay guys who are into like big packages, you know.
Okay.
And they couldn't care less what it's connected to, which I just can't relate to that, you know. Just like this chick at the casino the other day. I mean, she didn't have any boobs. She was like a pencil. Nasty miss. But, I mean, even if she did have big boobs, it wouldn't have helped. Couldn't have hurt, but, I mean, wouldn't have helped. 866 votes on the poll. I don't know if we're going to make it to 1,000 or not. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, what?
We got it.
Can you believe Rick Shaw is 68 years old? God, is that old. It doesn't make any difference whether you're old. You still call other people old, or whether you're fat, you still, you know, like the Beast. That's fat. I'm not in his league. I'm not in that category.
No.
But 68.
It's a lie. I am not a Nazi.
Well, tip of the cap to you, Ricky. You're okay in my book. 68, and he still survived this business. I wouldn't mind being on the air when I'm 68, but sure as hell not for Joe Bell, I'll tell you that. Or Joe Mama. This guy, I don't know what it is. You think Clarence has got pictures of the Beasleys and Carolyn with that billy goat? It must be. He must have pictures of that party. Because, boy, he sure knows where the bodies are buried, that freaking Clarence. U.S. President George W. Bush arrived in Indonesia to a storm of angry protests, looking to highlight growing strategic ties with the world's most populous Muslim nation in a lightning trip. Bush held talks with the Indonesian president, if you think I'm going to try to pronounce his name, forget about it, at the Summer Palace in the town of Bogor, and was to meet with civic leaders during a 7-hour visit before heading to Hawaii, and then from there to Washington, where he can start some more crap. Maybe he knows if a Mad Dog's on today. Call up El Presidente.
All right, I'll be right back.
Far from the smiles and happy waves that he saw from his armored limousine at his previous stop in Vietnam, the U.S. president faced intense opposition, even calls for his blood, from Indonesian Muslims angry over the Iraq War and the U.S. military presence in Afghanistan. Bush's visit turned this usually quiet resort town into a war zone, with grim-faced soldiers clutching assault weapons standing vigil on the streets and manning roadblocks, and razor wire blocking the way to the Bogor Summer Palace. A lot of pissed-off Muslims over there in Indonesia, man. White House officials said Bush hoped to emphasize that the U.S. wants a strategic relationship with Indonesia and that it looks beyond the flourishing counterterrorism cooperation since the 9/11 attacks. He was also expected to emphasize that the war on terror is not a war on Islam. Right, that's why he keeps talking about Islamophobia. What does he call it? Islamofascism. And seek an update on U.S. efforts to help reconstruction in Indonesia's Aceh province 2 years after a devastating tsunami. It's a tsunami, Mommy. How come we never had tsunamis when I was a little kid about 200 years ago, huh? I remember no tsunami. Now, all of a sudden, they had a little tsunami in Japan. They had the big one. Tsunamis all over the place. I think God's wrath is waxing hot. Don't you think that's it?
Are you hoping for one?
No. I don't think we're going to get one here. I don't think off Lake Ontario we're going to be getting no tsunami. Could be wrong, though. 871 votes. What's your biggest regret? Maybe my biggest regret is that I came into work today. I showed up. I should have stayed in bed.
By the way, something.
What?
Got a confirmation from Captain Curtis that Mad Dog will be on today.
Well, thank God. Leave it to Curtis Stevenson to tell us what the hell is going on, because we sure as hell haven't got any program director to tell us what the schedule is. And I'm not going to make fun of that, because I know that Mad Dog and Schembechler were very, very tight. And so, didn't I say on the air toward the end of the show, I'm not sure he's going to be on today? Remember that? I have my doubts.
I do.
After we found out that Bo was in the ground, not Kimba Bocamper, but Bo Schembechler, dead. I shouldn't say this, but I'll say it anyway. I never liked Bo Schembechler. He's a real temperamental... well, that's because he was at Michigan, man. I was a Michigan State guy myself. Huh?
Michigan State boy. Hating on Bo.
Not liking Bo Schembechler one little bit. I don't like any of those guys, man. Those coaches that were around for 100 years and all that. I don't know. Spent their whole lives like Bear Bryant and Bobby Bowden. Speaking of old coaches, how's Larry Cokehead doing? You mean they got to turn around and play BC on Thanksgiving Day? Oh, my God. Now, where is that game? Is that in BC?
No, that's here.
That's a home game.
That's why I said I'm curious to see how many.
Now, what section are you going to take? You won't have to worry about the overcrowded toilets in the Orange Bowl, I'll tell you that.
No.
In fact, if you're worried about where to pee on Thursday, just go out there and pee on the field because the Orange Bowl is a toilet, the whole thing. It's so emblematic of the phony baloney program. So you think there won't be much of a crowd just because they lost 6 games or because Boston College isn't a very attractive opponent? BC's pretty good.
They're not bad. They're
ranked. Why are you so negatory?
I'm saying it's Thanksgiving and they have 6 losses and it's about to be 7. And in this town, people don't go.
Oh, that's right. There's no front-runner phony to grab onto, as opposed to the Fish. Now, where's that game on Thursday? That's in Detroit, no doubt, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Wow. Against the little girls team, man. Like against a bunch of little blind girls with their hands tied behind their back.
Well, maybe they'll pull it out for their 4th in a row.
Do I dare say this? But I'm thinking to myself, Jason Taylor, he's the franchise. Am I wrong? Would you agree with that?
I'd say him and Zach Thomas.
The two of them are the franchise. I mean, that's what they got.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for him yesterday, they'd lose that game. And if you lose to Minnesota, man, you are in deep, deep doo-doo. So they're going to wind up winning on Thursday again, easy. I mean, easy, without even breaking a sweat. So that'll make them like 5-6. And I can hear it now. 10-6, baby. They're going to run the table. Yeah, run this. They're going to run the. Can't you hear it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm hearing it already. They're going to run the table, and now they got their act together, and they're just, They are so lucky to have won that game yesterday, and anybody who's seen it. Wow. Staggering. Life and death to beat a little girls' team. And then, of course, the best, beside the Patriots, of course, creaming Green Bay yesterday, the best result of yesterday was the Colts game, wouldn't you say?
I would say.
Can you believe that?
Peyton Manning not looking so sharp.
Sandy Peyton Manning, man. Maybe her boyfriend left her or something like that. Maybe she's sore about it. Or maybe just sore. That was really a shocker to me. Weren't you shocked by that? I mean, of all the teams that you think might have knocked them off this season, it sure as hell wasn't the Cowboys, was it?
No.
Wow. And what's that quarterback for the Cowboys now?
Tony Romo.
Homo.
That's it.
Wouldn't be the first homo quarterback for Dallas in recent years, but nevertheless. Tony Romo.
Gay.
Sure makes great ribs. 880 votes on the poll. We are creeping along, creeping. I don't think we're going to get to 1,000 today. It's going to be your fault. I don't know why, but I'll find it.
Yeah, Miguel.
I'll find something. That's Miguel's fault. That's right. And that's because there's nothing about Castro on the poll. How the hell can you vote on a poll when it's got nothing about Fidel on there, right? What's your biggest regret? That Castro isn't dead yet. You want to put that on there?
Oh, yeah, that's a regret.
What? No, I'm just, that Alien left town. I mean, I'm not really serious about putting these on there. I have to say that because otherwise they'll put them on there. But, we don't have Alien to kick around anymore. Those were some really sick days, man. Sick and almost kind of if you're a masochist, they were like enjoyable sick, you know what I mean? All these people, just crazy people, screaming and carrying on about something that nobody should have given a crap about, except that drunken family. Alien this and Alien. And, of course, there was the premature evaluation about Fidel, too. They were like dancing on his grave. He's not even dead yet, but he will be next year.
The biggest names,
Make
the
no mistake.
best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
This is Mark Morgan. It's the 12 to 1 hour on QAM.
Hey, Mom and Dad, give your kids the hottest action figure of the year. Gitmo Joe and the Torture Team.
Go, Joe!
Push Gitmo Joe's back and hear him bark out orders.
Tell us where Osama is. Where are the WMDs? Connect the wire to Ahmed's genitals.
That's right. Gitmo Joe talks, and he'll get the terrorists talking with cool accessories like the waterboard and the hand crank generator.
Go, Joe!
Collect all the members of Gitmo Joe's torture team, including Lindy the Leash Girl with Lifelike cigarettes.
Get naked and get on all fours!
And Gitmo Joe's faithful companion, Shotzi the attack dog.
Go, Joe!
So get your kids Gitmo Joe today.
Gitmo Joe may be in violation of the Geneva Convention. Parents should supervise all torture sessions. Batteries not included.
Go, Joe! Yay!
So guess whose bio I just read on our MySpace page?
Rick Shaw!
How do you like that? He's 142 years old, Rick Shaw.
Wow.
And still going strong. Nice going, Ricky Ticky. And I learned on there that he also, among other places, worked at WIOD. Isn't that incredible?
How about that?
I didn't ever even know that he worked at IOD. Didn't know that, Rick. My condolences to you. And he said the only thing about his gig that sucks is getting up at 4 in the morning. You know he starts at 5:30? He's on from 5:30 to 10. What kind of shift is that?
A lot of the FMs do that.
And why is that? Because they think they get a head start?
Head start, exactly.
Get out of here. Who the hell is up at 5:30 in the morning? What kind of a slime ball, a lifeless piece of turd, other than, of course, the guys that got to work like Rick. Who else is up at 5:30 in the morning? Nobody. Am I right?
Certainly not me.
Oh, I know somebody. The big...
Oh,
yeah, he's
rock solid.
He's on. 892 votes on the poll.
The
He's
Mo
on
Man
something.
was on there for a time.
Who?
The Mo Man had a 5 to 7 slot, remember?
Like I said, you're mentioning Rick Shaw and the Mo Man in the same breath. Shame on you, mister. Shame on you. The Carnival Cruise Line's Liberty arrived in Fort Lauderdale yesterday with hundreds of passengers and crew. Still weak from an intestinal virus was swept through the ship. I keep I'm begging you people, stop going on those cruise ships. You're going to be so sorry. You're going to be out there in the middle of the ocean feeling like Patrick McGowan, like the prisoner. You can't get off. You can't jump overboard unless you can swim real good. The cruise company reported 534 passengers and 142 were treated in the ship's infirmary with illness symptoms over the course of the 16-day voyage from Rome to South Florida's Port Everglades. Can you imagine the turlets on that ship, huh? Whoa. At the end of the cruise, there were 14 passengers and 5 crew still exhibiting symptoms and in isolation. It was a horrible cruise, said Eddie Amico of West Palm Beach as he disembarked. Jennifer De La Cruz, a company spokeswoman, said the illness was a virulent norovirus, a highly contagious disorder, which causes extreme gastrointestinal distress. It's sometimes called the 24-hour flu, and the Centers for Disease Control estimates there are more than 23 million cases a year in the USA, she be saying. The symptoms include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, cramping, and chills. That's cramping without the M. De La Cruz said the virus was probably brought aboard in Italy. Oh, there we go, blaming the poor Italians again for everything, right? We have confirmed that multi-people in Rome were sick with norovirus. That's our best theory at the moment, she said. Yeah, blame it on the Romans, okay? I'll guarantee you that in ancient times, the Romans didn't have no norovirus. I bet your life on it. You want to know why?
Why's that?
Because I'm sure that it didn't exist. God hadn't invented it yet, you know? Over all of these years, he's been busy inventing new things to make us sick and to punish us for our evil ways. The ship passed its last health inspection in March with a score of 94 out of 100. A score of 85 or lower is failing. The Liberty, which was due to leave for a Caribbean cruise on Sunday, won't leave until tomorrow now. During the next 2 days, the ship will be treated stem to stern with an antiviral fogging agent, De La Cruz said. Oh, go ahead and give it a shot. See how you make out. Call us back when you're puking your guts out. The ship was boarded by investigators from the CDC in San Martin 3 days ago. After reporting the illness at the same Caribbean port, Carnival also put 25 additional cleaning specialists and medical personnel aboard. Oh, man, how'd you like to clean up that ship, huh?
I'm all set.
Many passengers leaving the ship yesterday praised Carnival's efforts to fight the illness. CDC specialists will remain on Liberty through tomorrow to monitor the cleaning. All right. Keep going on them cruises, man. That's the way to waste your vacation money. Don't ever do it. 900 votes on the poll. I think that's as far as we're going with that thing. Although people, here's Brady sends us in. I wonder which Brady that is. You think this is Brady Quinn? No. For the poll, how about abusing drugs/alcohol? You want to put that on there? Would you regret?
Okay.
Let's get that on there. Abusing drugs/alcohol and also getting fat. I would say that's my biggest regret. I got fat like, let's see, how many years ago? I'd say about 40 years ago. And only once in my life, in 1975, when I lost 100 pounds, only once would I get back to what I would say was, like the right weight.
You lost 100 pounds?
In a year.
Really?
Yes.
That's impressive.
Well, it's impressive except for the fact that I gained a lot of it back. And then I think since the IOD days, I've lost about 45 pounds. And then there's that last 30 pounds or so. How many?
About 30, man.
And that elusive 30 pounds. You're sure not going to do it by eating all that ice cream and crap that you eat. I'll tell you that right now, mister.
Yeah, when they bring you 3 meals during a show.
You mean an IOD?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We were just shoveling it down. George can tell you. We were shoveling the food down. And also on Zeta. Man. Anyway, Brady says, I also heard you refer to the Dolphins as the fish. I thought the Marlins were the fish and the Dolphins were the fins. Sounds fishy to me, Brady, okay? P.S. How did Josh ever stop talking through his teeth? It's a miracle. That's because I cured him of it. That's how, Brady. Remember that when I cured you with that?
Yes,
when I embarrassed the hell out of you? He was doing his best. Eric Reed and who's the other guy talks like through his teeth like that?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm going to tell you, Madden is he's on a Joe Theismann tear lately. He just pop. Oh, that was a hell of a game last night, by the way. I don't want to get too sports intensive again, but there were some pretty good games yesterday.
Yes.
And that was one of them.
By the way, they're all on the Joe Theismann tear. There's not one color guy that doesn't.
Yeah, they're getting paid by the word now. I can't stand it. I can't handle it. And I'll tell you who was really so far out of, so clueless, and that was Deerdorf. He made so many mistakes on that, he didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
Not a big fan.
No. Let's get 40 people in the booth. What do you say? Let's just jam in there like sardines. See how many people we can get in there. 902 votes on the poll. Getting divorced don't have any yet, and we haven't had the other ones, have we?
Yes, we have.
Getting fat.
Refresh.
Oh, getting fat, then those three don't have any yet. Abusing drugs and booze, getting fat, and getting divorced have all got the big, how do you like that? He could lose a couple ounces, too, by the way. Although I haven't seen him in a long time. See, it's hard for me to, make fun of anybody and pick on them, A, when I'm as fat as a pig myself, and B, when we don't see each other for a long time, you know.
That's right, you're out of touch.
So when you start porking up big, which you will.
I will not.
Now, what happened with the ice cream there on Friday? What was the end result of that?
I dominated, 1.5 tubs.
What a tub. Man. A WSLS TV meteorologist that's in Roanoke, Virginia, for those who are unfamiliar, and I'm sure that's all of us. A meteorologist was fired because his nude photo was posted on the internets. Don't be posting your photo nude on our website, Ricky. Can you imagine Rickshaw naked on the internet? Oh, my God. The NBC affiliate dismissed Jamie Singleton last Thursday after his photo appeared naked on MySpace.com. The station's interim general manager, Shane Moreland. Isn't that what we have, an interim general manager? We can only pray. Shane Moreland said in a statement that Singleton broke the morals clause of his contract, which stipulates that he must not be involved in anything deemed offensive or out of line with community standards. What shocks and what offends, that's really up to them, Singleton, 28, told the Roanoke Times. I can't blame them if after everything that's happened they said, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. According to Singleton, the picture was taken as a joke a few months ago at a friend's home where he was getting ready for work. After going through treatment for heroin addiction, he stopped hanging out with some friends, including the one who posted the photo on MySpace last Tuesday, Singleton said. When he heard about the picture, he notified MySpace, and the picture was taken down within an hour. However, the photo was emailed to several of Singleton's co-workers and to Moreland, Singleton said. WSLS is owned by Media General, Inc., which also owns the Richmond Times-Dispatch newspaper. Oh, my BlackBerry just buzzed. You think it's something important? It's not. It's from TomPayne.com. Well, good. The end of the world is coming. 907 on our poll. Boy, I just don't think we're going to make it to 1,000. Because, this Thanksgiving week is a week that you might as well just take. Why don't they just give us the whole week off? Starting like right now would be good.
With pay.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
That's what they ought to do. Then we don't have to worry about having a program director around who might actually make up a schedule so somebody knows when the hell they're supposed to work or who's coming in and who's on first. Every time you turn around, well, Clarence is off with UM basketball again, and he didn't even go to school there. That's what really cracks me up about that. I think it's when him and Robert Griefer became such tight boyfriends or whatever it is, or maybe the Beast. I mean, the Beast is obsessed with UM. He's got it in his blood, doesn't he?
He bleeds green and orange.
Yeah, a lot. Maybe that's just when his folks sent him out on those cruises of his. He's always going off on cruises and puking his guts out. Not to mention other things, I'm sure. Oh, man. It reminds me back of the days when we used to have Fat Boy. Remember we used to have those, if it matters, it splatters in the QMT room. Remember those days? I don't want to get too graphic in the middle of lunch hour. Yeah, everybody remembers. People think I'm making that up. I'm not. 911, man. 911 votes on that poll. We need the big push to get to 1,000, and then we can all go home.
The biggest names, the best talent.
Thanks for the memories, Joe.
Rogers,
nice knowing you.
Sports Radio 560
Not.
QAM.
Young is too young.
About 30, man.
I slashed you with my knife. Why? Because I love you.
All right.
Then I killed that other guy. Why? Because I love you. Wine and flowers would do well, but I decided, what the hell? I would rather slice you up instead.
Feathered off my head, why? Because you love me.
That's right, I love you, bitch.
Out, twist me out of bed, why? Because you love me.
I love you, you hoe.
We had one too many fights, so I decided you must die.
We're both told that left us be.
Just like John Bonet Ramsey, thanks to that old race car, I'm free.
I'm dying over here.
12:17. Do you think we've seen Fred Goldman and the sister enough? Ron's sister? I don't even know what her name is.
They're going to keep coming.
Over and over. And, not that I don't sympathize with them, but why do we need to keep seeing this? And they keep, King especially. He is the worst.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you think people are going to buy this book? You think they're going to watch the movie? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, like that. On and on. Promoting the hell out of it, just like I'm doing right now. Only I'm begging you, don't buy the book and don't watch the crap on Fox, which I sure as hell won't. If I killed her, this is the way I did it. I mean, what? Have you ever in your life even imagined hearing anything so stupid?
No.
I'd rather hear the fishing show, with all due respect to Eric Brandon. I'd rather hear about No Punches Pooed. I'd rather hear that guy.
Well, tune in on Saturday mornings.
Well, that's why I mentioned them both in the same breath. No Punches Pooed. Let's see, we got the Pro Football Weekly. Let's look at that Saturday lineup. We don't never mention the weekend lineup enough. Maybe we'll turn some people onto some of them really good specialty shows, but I doubt it. Pro Football Weekly, 6 to 7 on Saturday. I'm getting up early Saturday morning to hear that. Although, of course, I'd come in here to try to hear it. And then, the feed's been shut off. They closed the pot again. Now, can we find out who it is that does that on Sundays? Who does that?
They probably roll the dice. It's probably different every week.
We got the Weekly Fisherman with Eric Brandon, 7 to 9 Saturday morning. The Real Deal, No Punches Pooed, 9 to 10 in the morning. That's at your buddy. Now, which of those shows do you work?
I work on The Real Deal. I mean, I don't work on the show. It's got its own section on the website. A lot of stuff.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning
I thought you said you worked on the show.
I do. I podcast their show. I put up pictures. I do a blog every week. I'm here on Saturdays because of that show.
Fantasy Playbook at Kendall Toyota at 10. Well, what the hell is that? Fantasy Playbook.
It's the Big O. Talks about fantasy football for an hour.
And then the Big O at Kendall Toyota at 11 to 12:30. So, in other words, first it's fantasy, and then it's like non-fantasy. Hey, anytime he's on, it's
rock solid
fantasy. And then we got Hurricanes basketball, college hoops. That means Clarence will be leaving, about Wednesday? Because he's got to get Thanksgiving off Thursday and Friday. And then the basketball game. They call him travel plan.
No, he's working Thursday.
What do you mean by that?
Hurricanes football.
He's on those broadcasts, too?
Yeah, he does the Hurricanes game day.
Mr. Hurricane is on there again?
Who's what?
With his Hurricane baby crap? That's what it is. It's baby crap, man. Leave it to VUM. Let them do the damn games. Nobody else wants to be involved with that no more. They lost a whole bunch of games. Nobody wants to be involved with that crap. With a team with a losing record, they're going to wind up being 5-7. Now, is that the last game? I hope. I'm sure it is.
Yes, it is.
The season for the Canes will end on Thursday in an ignominious defeat by Boston College. That'll make them 5-7. And then, in spite of all the denials, the old man, he's on the way out, Larry Cokehead. He's gone. Is there any doubt about that?
No, he was gone at 3 losses, but yeah, definitely.
Right. He was gone at 1 loss, man. That's the nature of that program. Oh, they lost the game? Screw that. I'm not going. I don't want nothing to do with that. Always been that way, always will be. 931 votes on the poll. Abusing drugs and alcohol, so far we got the big none. So we probably have a lot of drunks and druggies out there, but they're happy that, they're happy they're in the condition that they are, in the condition I'm in. What was that song by the Electric Prunes or somebody like that?
Oh, yeah.
Inside O.J.'s new confessional. This is from Newsweek. To those who worried about our violent, sex-obsessed, celebrity-crazed culture had at last reached the very farthest depths of depravity, O.J. Simpson and Judith Regan come bearing news we had so much farther to fall. The accused but unconvicted killer and the attention-hungry publisher have teamed up to create a product so lacking in taste and decency that people already are lining up to buy it. Not like the PS3, but nevertheless. Seriously, before I go on with this stupid story, when you stop and think about these people that are like fighting each other at Best Buy and all these other stores for their PlayStation 3 so they can sell them on eBay, well, what does that tell you?
I mean, the fighting is ridiculous. I got to tell you, I mean, if I could get one for $6 and sell it for $10,000, I'd be in line.
Yeah, but what does it tell you about the people that are willing to pay $10,000 for it?
Not much.
And you wonder why the world's in the condition that it's in. There's that business again. What the hell's the name of that song? Something my condition was in. Oh, geez. Electric Prunes. I'm going to have to look it up in the book during the break. Probably Chicken Neck knows what it is. Regan's imprint at HarperCollins, which has put out books about convicted wife killer Scott Peterson and a memoir by porn star Jenna Jameson, is set to publish a fictional account by O.J. that details how he would have killed Nicole and Ron if he did kill them, which he still insists he did not. Right. The book titled If I Did It will go along with a two-part Fox television event in which Regan, a former National Enquirer reporter, will interview O.J., who apparently will spell out in gory detail precisely how he did not commit the crime. Here's how I didn't do it. Regan reportedly paid between $2 and $3.5 million for the deal. She kept the project secret even from her colleagues at HarperCollins, telling them only that a big title was coming out by the end of November. When word about the deal got out last week, Regan was attacked as a money-grubbing, bottom-feeding bitch on the cable news shows. Outraged by the depravity of it all, they reveled in the story at great length. We might be accused of doing the same thing, says Newsweek, and you are. But that's okay, as long as you're ripping them an ass. Wounded by the criticism, Regan rose to defend herself. She protested she'd been misunderstood. The book and TV deal had nothing to do with money. She wrote in a windy statement issued Thursday night. She did it to help victims of violence. Right. As a young woman, she wrote, she was abused by a boyfriend and believes Simpson's confession to the murders, even hypothetically, will heal the wounds of victims everywhere. The former boyfriend denied the allegations of abuse, by the way. I made the decision to publish this book and to sit face-to-face with the killer, Regan said, because I wanted him and the men who broke my heart and your hearts to tell the truth, to confess their sins, to do penance, and to amend their lives. Amen. She says amen, not me. I say amen. Even in the crowded annals of calculated confessionals, Regan's is something special. As she sat with O.J. for the TV interview, the men who lied and cheated and beat me, they were all in the room, she wrote. And the people who denied it, they were there too. And though it might sound a little bit strange, Nicole and Ron were in my heart, she said. And for them, I wanted him to confess his sins, to do penance and amend his life. Amen. Another amen. And if everyone should happen to make money in the process, then amen to that too, says Newsweek. Just how the deal came together is still a bit of a mystery. According to Simpson's lawyer, Yale Galenter, an unidentified go-between thought up the idea and brought Regan and Simpson together. Regan has clarified why she wanted in, but why would O.J. agree to stomp on the grave of his dead former wife? Money, for starters. The Juice hasn't had an easy time finding work, and he still owes most of the $33.5 million judgment that the Goldman and Brown families, Ron and Nicole's relatives, won in a wrongful death case against him in civil court. Simpson, who of course now lives in Kendall, where laws protect his house from creditors in the state of Florida, has been forced to scrape by on his $300,000 a year NFL pension, which is also beyond the court's reach. He has no fear his confession might get him into trouble again with the law. He can't be tried for a second time for the crimes. But a Simpson family friend who, like many close to O.J., didn't want to be named for fear of alienating him, says that money wasn't his only motivation. He's long past caring at this point, the friend says. I think he's saying, you think I did it anyway, so let me make some money off what you think. This is just one big F-U from him, an F-U from O.J. Well, F-U too, O.J. It only took hours for all the old cast members from the O.J. drama, lightly slumbering these long years but never far from the phone, to assemble and resume their battle stations for the latest clash. The lawyers, the experts, the commentators all found their way back to the cameras, as did Fred Goldman, the long-suffering Simpson antagonist. Even for him, it's about as low as you could possibly go, he told Newsweek. This is a guy who's a complete narcissist and sociopath. Goldman vowed to go after any money Simpson makes from the project. Anticipating just that, the deal reportedly was arranged so the payments won't be paid directly to Simpson himself. In her statement, Regan insisted she didn't want Simpson to see any of the profits. She said she gave the cash to a third party. I was told the money would go to his children. That much I could live with, she said. Anybody believe in that?
No.
That he's going to give the money to his children? No. But the Goldmans and Browns may yet lay claim to the profits. If the publisher paid a third party a check that really belonged to O.J., it doesn't shield it from the legal process, says Daniel Petroselli, a lawyer who represented the Goldmans in the civil suit. I wonder if he's kin to Rico Petroselli. Think? Even some of the people closest to Simpson were surprised when they learned about the deal. Galanter, Simpson's lawyer, bluntly admits he's pissed off. O.J. kept him in the dark about it. He called the Prophets blood money and says, I definitely would not have approved this. Galanter says the whole thing is something of a bait and switch. Only one of those 7 chapters deals with a murder, he says, and nowhere does O.J. in the book admit to killing anybody. Even so, Galanter says, I wouldn't have done it for a gazillion dollars. Simpson's children evidently don't share his misgivings. Galanter says O.J.'s 4 grown children, 2 from a previous marriage and 2 he had with Nicole, were among the few people who knew about the deal before last week and says they approved. Couldn't be the money, you think?
No.
Simpson's friends and family say that at this point he's got nothing to lose. He can't sink any lower in the public eye. There's nothing he can do to make the Goldmans or Browns happy, says a close family member. He would have to drop dead, and that wouldn't be enough. They would find something wrong if he was saving dying kids in Africa. O.J. saving dying kids, now that would make some great TV, says Newsweek. Short of that, he could follow the lead of Borders, the national book chain, which announced it will donate profits from the book to victims of domestic abuse. Regan, who says, what I wanted was closure, not money, could hand over her chunk of the loot, too. Could. Don't hold your breath, but what would be an interesting experiment to see what would happen. Anybody care about O.J.?
No.
Anybody going to watch that movie? Yeah, you will, and you'll buy the book. I mean, they'll deny it, but like in secret, in the middle of the night.
Trust me, people still like him.
Yeah, in that place, you have QAM. And you want to know why?
Why is that?
Can I give you one word to describe that building?
Please do.
S-I-C-K. Sick. Sick.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
M-O-N-T-A-Y-S-U-C-K-S.
Eisner?
Mr. Mouse?
What the hell are you doing to me?
What do you mean, sir?
Why am I reading in the paper you're going to put a Disney theme park in Brooklyn?
Well, sir, we're just scouting locations.
Jesus, I'm scouting CEOs. You are killing me.
But sir, look what we've done with New York City, Times Square, 42nd Street.
Hang on. Remus! Remus! Turn off the vacuum cleaner, Remus! Get that bluebird out of here!
Okay, boss.
Eisner.
But, sir, look what we've done with Midtown Manhattan. 42nd Street is incredible.
You know what? Publicly, I supported that, but you took all the porn away. You're killing me. I'm going through Gaviscon like Pez.
We're just scouting areas. Calm down.
Listen to me, Butt Munch. Don't tell me to calm down. We got lucky with Lilo and Stitch, $128 million. Now, you're trying to ruin the whole network. What kind of programming are you running? Hang on a minute. Remus!
Yeah,
you've got bluebird crap all over your shoulder. Clean yourself up, for heaven's sake. And turn off the vacuum cleaner.
Okay, boss.
Good God.
Sir, the network is fine.
Why couldn't you come up with American Idol? Good God, you're still running James Bond movies. They're 60 years old. Why don't you just put Steamboat Willie on and be done with it? At least then I'd make a couple of damn dollars.
Well, the movie division's fine. You make
these titles past me.
Please.
Remus. Remus.
Can't hear you, boss.
I know you can't hear me, Remus. You're still running the vacuum cleaner. Next time I started my car, if I were you.
What do you mean, sir?
I'm about done with you.
What?
About done.
What, sir?
I'll put Hannah Storm in your job.
But, sir, I'm sorry.
You're terrible.
I'm sorry.
Maybe I'll put Remus in there. How'd you like to be president of Disney, Remus?
Oh, my.
What a wonderful day. Get out of here, you nutbag.
Well, there's a little preview of what Friday's going to be like. I think, because what he used to do every Thursday, possible, if anything slips through, on those old bits, like he'll be responsible for it.
That sounds great. Hey, listen, Boca Brian said the title is just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in.
By?
It said it's on Kenny Rogers in the first edition.
Oh, Kenny Rogers in the first edition. That is absolutely correct. Thanks, Chicken X.
Absolutely correct, sir.
Just dropped in to see what my condition is in. All right. Now, if George was there, we'd have his, his library of music, and he would, whip that baby right out, and the music, too.
Well, the library's there.
Are you going to find it?
I can try. I don't know.
Kenny Rogers in the first edition?
If it was a hit.
Orange label. I want to say Roulette Records. I think I might be right about it. Let's play a little Russian roulette. Let's give the gun to clearance, though, and see what happens. It's fully loaded clearance, you idiot. 959 votes on the poll. We'll make the 1,000, but not by an awful lot today. It's just, it's a holiday week. Do you think a lot of people have already vamoosed?
If they were smart.
Yeah. And wouldn't come back if they really were smart.
I don't have it.
Former Republican fundraiser at the center of a scandal-plagued state investment in rare coins that helped Democrats seize power in the midterm elections was sentenced today to 18 years in a slammer.
Oh!
Tom No, a prominent coin dealer accused of taking at least $2 million, was convicted last week of theft, corrupt activity, money laundering, forgery, and tampering with records. Lucas County Common Pleas Judge Thomas Osawick, who described the crime as an elaborate scheme of theft on a large scale, also fined No $120,000. You continued to spend the Bureau's money at what I thought was a shockingly, alarmingly large rate, and done for one purpose, to present some type of facade that you had a bottomless cup of wealth and luxury at your disposal, when in fact it was at the state's expense, Osawick said. No declined to make a statement during the hearing. Defense attorney John Mitchell urged Osawick before sentencing to consider that Noah is unlikely to repeat his crimes, and the judge said, "Your mama." Separately, Noah has already been sentenced to 2 years and 3 months in federal prison after pleading guilty earlier this year to funneling $45,000 to El Presidente Bush's re-election campaign. The scandal surrounding the investment that Noah managed had dogged the state's GOP for more than a year, culminating this month with Democrats winning a U.S. Senate seat and 4 or 5 statewide offices after 12 years of Republican rule in Ohio. Even with all the bad machines they got there, they still swept them right out of there in Ohio. 962 votes. I see the druggies finally, or the booze, the drunks. Well, maybe they just sobered up enough to get online, you think?
That's it.
What's your biggest regret? I think it's an excellent poll. Thanks again, Sean, even if the audience hates it. The ass I missed during the course of my life, all the action I missed because of the fact I was too stupid to realize. I could have just reached right out there and grabbed it, you know? Reach out for the brass ring or the brass thing, whatever the hell it was. The ass I missed, 344. Never went to college, 123. Wish I had been a better person, 88. I hate this poll, 87, down to 9%. I want to get under 9%. If I can get that baby under 9, I'll feel, a little bit better about life. Just get it under 9. And then, now that I said that, they'll all vote for it. Getting married, 85. Never found true love, 83. By Bing Crosby and Grace Kelly, True Love, on Capitol Records. I bet you got that. You got it? I don't want to... you're not familiar with that library, If George was there, it would be already playing, Although we're glad George is off this weekend because he's a hard ass. He is the most stubborn. Good God. You ever try to convince him of anything?
No.
Stubborn as a mule.
Actually, he has no Grace Kelly up in here.
What about Bing Crosby? Come on. Oh, this is by artist he's got it done?
Yeah. Well, you
could do it by artist or song.
Yeah, and? No God. Well, they don't want to hear it anyway. It's a corny old record. Syrup. Never found true love, 83. I have none. No regrets, 44. We are so jealous of those people, man. They've had it all. The sex, the money, the success. No regrets. I don't want to hear "Baby, It's Cold Outside."
That's all
okay?
I got for you.
Well, that's more than enough. Was a lousy son or daughter, 36. Never bought a house, 36. Having kids, 17. Biggest regret, having pain-in-the-ass kids. Getting fat is already up to 10. We just put that on there, boy. A lot of us regret that big time, getting fat. It's easy to get fat, not so easy to get slim. Slim and trim. Young and dumb and... Didn't graduate high school, 7. Getting divorced, 2. And abusing drugs or booze has already got a vote. Aren't you proud of that?
Kind of.
We got one stiff out there, honest enough. Somebody that crawled over to the computer, now it's got 2. We got a pair. They're probably sitting there passing the bottle back and forth like a bunch of winos. Can you just see that?
Yes.
That's probably what happens at our management meetings. Wouldn't surprise me. Joe hands it over to Josh. Clarence hands it over to Robert Grieper. And then all 3 of them handed to Chris Jones. Got to hand it to him, Doing a heck of a job, man. Got to hand it to him. 20 before 1 at 5, especially on that copy. Is he doing some... No. But I'm not going to start on that again because it's only Neil again, starting up again. There goes the old fart again. He just must have woke up on the wrong side of the sack this morning. No, actually not. I woke up on the same side I always wake up on. But unfortunately, there was nobody on the other side. My Italian friend wasn't there. What a shame, huh?
Yeah.
In fact, I can only imagine that he was sleeping in the same bed with that bimbo there last night. Oh, my God. The thought of it makes me want to just vomit meals from 100 years ago. Huh? Just the thought of it. And she's there and rubbing his shoulder. She has glommed onto him, man. And, of course, I'm thinking to myself, if I was that, I would do the same. And I'm also thinking, boy, and I'm me, and I ought to do the same, too, but it ain't going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She ain't going to let go. It's one of those deals.
Junior, honey.
Way down south, where the mugwumps go to hang from trees and play banjo. You got some who own a station on newfangled radio. Now as North Carolina goes, Raleigh's a big city, you know, and that's where the Beasleys had to go for Jolly Riley Joe. A new GM, he'll do what he can. Shake your hand like a friend, then quickly walk away. They had Joe go to 560 with ratings in the toilet bowl to get those flaming sport homos in order and control. And then so Jolly Raleigh Joe, avuncular and in the know, he lets Mo go, and here's what blows, gives Geldy his own show. Ow! He'll make a big change and rearrange. It's worse or the same, he hasn't done a thing. For what goes on the air at 2, Joe don't have a stinking clue about a format that essentially blows sport hole radio. The GM of 560, Jolly Raleigh Joe.
Oh! 1247 at 560 WQM. Mad Dog will be back today. He'll be on at 2, and then with Hank at 4. And the reason we know that is because Curtis Stevenson was kind enough to call us and let us know about it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
That's the only reason we know. We don't have a program director who ordinarily would be the person like in a real radio station who would say, oh, here's the schedule for today, and you can promote it a little bit and let the audience know who's on first and what's on second. And Mad Dog, after taking off Friday because Bo Schembechler croaked, will be back today. We don't have a PD to do that because he's busy being a sports nerd, playing Baby Schmidt. A female FAU student and a male visitor were found dead in her dormitory suite over the weekend, and police today said both died of drug overdoses. How do you like that?
Absolutely correct, sir. Oh, my God.
Neither of the victims was immediately identified. Police also didn't reveal whether investigators found drugs or paraphernalia in the suite at the Heritage Park Towers on FAU's main campus. Boca police are helping campus police with the investigations. The bodies of the two were found inside the apartment by another student around 3:30 yesterday afternoon, campus police said. Both pronounced dead at the scene. Dead. Police said both died of overdoses from an unspecified drug or drugs. Autopsies are going on today to determine the exact time and cause of death for each. The autopsy is also expected to reveal what drug was used. Wouldn't you want to find out what drug was used?
Yeah, I can tell you they didn't know Dion.
In the meantime, investigators trying to determine where the two obtained the drugs. Oh, now we know where George is this week.
Yeah.
997 votes on the poll. We'll get to 1,000, and then after that you can lay back. It's a good poll. There's nothing wrong with it.
I agree.
And we got 8.9% say they hate the poll, which that's our goal. It's under 9%. Actually, there should be like only 1 or 2% say they hate this poll. And the reason that those people are saying this is because their lives are probably a pile of crap, you know?
Well, there's always
professional
gonna be the
malcontents. Wouldn't you think?
Yes.
Which, of course, we know which those people are. Yeah. And believe me, if I was them, I'd hate my life, too. Doug Thompson, CapitolHillBlue.com. You notice how quiet Miguel's been all day? Because he's just gritting his teeth. Did you get any food at least out of this today?
Oh, you know we got the Howies. Yep.
No, Howie's. Okay, that's good. And Muff came in this morning and said they had a phenomenal turnout. Now, it's too bad Josh wasn't there. You promised you were going to be there, but then went out of town at
I would
Jackson's
have gone
Ice Cream.
if I were in town.
You would have been there.
Yeah.
For more free ice cream, no doubt. Said, I'm Josh Cordes from the Neil Rogers Show. Can I have another couple of tubs of free ice cream, please?
Well, actually, the nice people from Jackson said, I'm welcome to come by anytime.
Really?
So, don't be surprised.
That is really swell. You see the perks of working on this show?
That's right.
I'm telling you, you're going to balloon up. You're going to be a cow. I just can feel it. You can't. Am I right, Miguel?
He will. He doesn't stop eating, so absolutely.
You people don't understand, okay?
Yeah, we don't understand what.
Look, I'm still active, so I can eat as much as I want. Okay? I burn off everything I eat. Let's put it that way.
Doug Thompson in Capitol Hill Blue writes, I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot mezuzah. Doug Thompson says, when correctly viewed, everyone is screwed. And I would say that he is, as usual.
Absolutely correct, sir.
Here we are, he says, nearly 2 weeks after the midterm elections that were supposed to turn things around for this country, make us all feel better. And what do we have? Chaos would be a good word. Utter chaos would be 2 better words. The bloodbath in Iraq is escalating, and bloodbath is a word even the ultra-cautious Associated Press used in its headline today. Democrats continue to snap at each other. Former Secretary of State Kissinger calls the Iraq war unwinnable, and Bush foreign policy disastrous, and the Pentagon's got a new plan for the war. At least another 112 have died in Iraq today as sectarian violence increases, and the country plunges headlong into an uncontrollable civil war. Back here in the U.S. of A., Democrats try to contain their own civil war in the aftermath of incoming Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi's humiliating defeat at the hands of colleagues who rejected her choice for Majority Leader. Representative Steny Hoyer of Maryland, who trounced Pelosi's choice, the ethics-challenged Pennsylvania war critic John Murtha for the job, admits he's worried about retaliation from the catty Pelosi. We're going to talk about that, Hoyer admitted when asked if he feared reprisal from the new Speaker, but he added that retaliation would be a mistake for Pelosi because his supporters would retaliate against her. One of the reasons it's not going to happen is that there are a lot of them, Hoyer said of his supporters. It's one thing if you have a margin of 1 or 2 or 5 or even 10, but when you have a margin as decisively as the caucus made a decision, then it's time to move on. Where I come from, says Doug Thompson, those are called fighting words. Speaking of fighting words, former Secretary of State Kissinger says all the fighting in the world won't win the Iraq war. If you mean by military victory an Iraqi government that can be established and whose writ runs across the whole country, that gets the civil war under control and sectarian violence under control in a time period that the political processes of the democracies will support, I don't believe that's possible, Kissinger told the BBC, which I already told you before. This is a diplomat's long-winded way of saying we're screwed. Over at the Pentagon, however, they say they have a new 3-option plan. It's called Go Home, Go Big, or Go Longer. Basically, the Pentagon's big plan goes like this. 1, we can go home, which means we admit defeat and lose. 2, we can send in more troops, which means more Americans die before we eventually lose. And 3, we can use fewer troops but keep them longer, which means more Americans die before we eventually lose. Another name for this might be 3 strikes policy. Either way, we're out. And then he says, I'm going back to bed. And you know what? I think that's a good idea. I'm going back to bed, too. I could have used a couple hours extra sleep. If you would have told me we'd have had all this, I mean, not that it's a big deal. You know, you called Miguel and he came in, being the generous spick that he is, you know.
See.
10-10 on the poll. We got 1,010. 10-10 like WINZ wins New York. 10-10 wins and 10-10 CFRB Toronto, eh? Now, what were you going to say?
I said my regret would be answering the phone this morning.
I did wake him up.
Really? At what time was this? 9:30? 9 o'clock?
No, I probably called him at about...
8:45.
8:45, yeah.
Well, what time would you ordinarily come in? You wouldn't be working today?
No, I'd be off today.
Really?
Yes, being that I worked all weekend long.
So, in other words, if Josh wouldn't have called you, you wouldn't have come into the station at all today.
That is correct, sir.
So there's another piece of evidence, okay, for the Clarence Darrow conviction book, as if we don't have enough already. It isn't going to make any difference, though, because he's got the pictures, man. He's got Joe Bell by the short hairs, speaking of people that shave their privates. He's got it by the short hairs, wherever they might be, and the long hairs. So that's what we're faced with. That's what we're confronted with, okay? So I think, cutting that deal a couple of years short sounds like a real winner to me. I could, really conserve. I can save up a few bucks between now and the end of the year. 10-10 on the poll. What's your biggest regret? And on the bottom, getting divorced is 2. Didn't graduate high school, 7. Abusing drugs and alcohol, 7. See, it took them a while to get over get on the floor, get off the floor. Having kids, 11. And getting fat is moving up big, 21. 21. Regret getting fat. Because once you get there, which you can do in no time at all, doesn't take any talent at all. You'll see, Josh.
Nope.
When you're like roly-poly. When you say, oh, gee, I look now today like what the Beast used to look like before he croaked a few years ago. That's what you'll be saying.
Listen, I'm also a thin guy, man. I could eat like, the pound burger and I lose a pound. You know what I mean?
I can't stand that. I hate people like that. See, when you're fat like me, you hate people who can eat all they want and never gain any weight. Can't stand that. I had a friend like that in college. Skinny as a rail. 8 and 8 and 8. I mean, you can't even begin to imagine how much this
I can eat
ate.
myself, but I can't gain weight.
What was that?
You heard me.
No, seriously, what did you just say? What did he say, Miguel?
He said he could eat as well. He could pass on the food. I don't know what you were
I thought you said something else, which I'm not going to repeat it because we'll all get joiced. I'm just glad you didn't say it. 10-13 on the pool, 10-13. It's not bad, okay? I think that's a good total to close with. And I think between 1 and 2, I got a really good idea what we could do between 1 and 2 today. We'll play that about 5 times, and we'll all be out of here.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers.
Solid.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
It's not just the 1 to 2 hour. It's a phenomenon.
Tonight, go out to dinner at the #1 restaurant in town, CSI Fridays.
Wow, this place is a mess. It looks like a grisly crime scene. Are you sure you want to eat here, honey?
Don't let the blood splatter fool you. This place has the best burgers in town.
At CSI Fridays, we have great food, like autopsy burgers, DNA wraps, and sizzling forensic fajitas.
Watch out, ma'am. The plate's hot.
Hey, Ned, why do you wear rubber gloves?
I don't want to contaminate the fajitas, ma'am.
Our staff is always friendly and knowledgeable.
Hi, I'm Catherine. Can I start you off with something to drink?
Hi, Catherine. I'd like... Hey, wait a second. Don't I know you from somewhere? Didn't you used to dance at Cheetahs?
I'll be right back.
And for a killer birthday experience, make it CSI Friday.
It's your birthday. How old are you?
We really want to know.
Happy birthday.
Hey. CSI Fridays, opening soon in Miami and New York.
Yeah, I got the check. Got my car fixed. It's my birthday. Fixed my bumper. New taillights.
Geico. Real service, real savings.
It's my birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Vern. It's 1 o'clock at 560 WQM. Let me say it again. Jim Mandis will be on it, too. At least that's what we're hearing from Curtis Stevenson. One of South Africa's most notorious criminals escaped from a high-security prison by greasing himself up with petroleum jelly and squeezing out of a tiny window, local news reports said today in Johannesburg, South Africa. He greased himself up with petroleum jelly and squeezed right out. Ananias Mathe, a Mozambican national awaiting trial on rape, murder, and other charges, removed a bulletproof window at Pretoria's C-Max prison and pushed himself through the opening, which measured just 8 by 23 inches. Can you envision that?
That's pretty tight.
8 by 23 inches. We are devastated. We won't sleep till we get him, said Police Captain Arnold Boonstra. He said the escape was Houdini style. Police weren't immediately available to comment. News reports said the police were not able to explain how Matthew freed himself from handcuffs or give other details of the escape. The first reported at the top security C-Max prison in its 36-year history. The Congressional Services Minister called for an investigation into management at the prison. I don't think that any offender can just escape as easy as that from C-Max. I know C-Max. I've been there several times. He said there must be some collusion that took place, he said. Some collusion. The story sounds really 8 by 23 inches. I mean, I'm looking at like a regular sheet of paper is what, 8 by 11?
Yeah.
So if you take like like 2 sheets of paper.
That guy must be like a $1.05 or less.
Yeah, he must be skinny mini. Or he must have used a lot of grease. He must have really lubed it up.
Tell you what, we had Howie's earlier, but Gary came by, and Brad at Tony's has this new bread brought us by a sub. That is excellent.
Delicious, man.
I'm telling you, man, this is just great.
See, it was worth Miguel getting out of bed now for coming in bulk up a little bit.
Absolutely. By the way, something.
Yeah?
You have a new slideshow on your MySpace page, right under your boy Brady Quinn there.
And what is that?
That's a surprise.
Okay, one moment, please. I'll tell you what, instead of just play a little bit of that.
No, I'll eat the sub.
Okay, that's good. We got some boobies on there, okay? No face. We have no idea who they are, and they certainly all definitely, I mean, there's no 15 or 16-year-old girls got boobies like that I know of.
No. They shouldn't, anyways.
So they're it's prohibited by law. So there's some boobies for you on our MySpace page. And I thought we were going to put those on our homepage, on the website.
Well, I have no control over that.
Are you serious?
You don't want to put those on there?
Hey, listen.
No, let's not go put no boobies on our website, okay? If it's the MySpace page, we'll blame somebody else for that. We'll blame Miguel. He's the one in charge of that.
Sure.
Smoking is being employed by some politicos, including Barack Obama and Laura Bush, as a means of humanizing themselves to voters, according to an article that appeared in the October issue of the New Republic. They're smoking it. Barack Obama's revelation that he's thinking about a 2008 run for president set off a predictable flurry of prognostications this week. Politics watchers have speculated about how the electorate would react to everything from his youth to his pigmentation to his acknowledgement that he messed around with marijuana and maybe a little blow. Isn't that what Miss Foley said, the same thing? Maybe a little blow? Different kind. But a far more interesting, if less legally dicey, bullet point was buried in a few of the recent stories about the Illinois senator's ambitions. Obama is a cigarette smoker.
Oh, my God.
Now, why the hell do we care about that? He's puffing on them faggots. In a different time or a different spot on the socioeconomic totem pole, it might seem a lot weirder for an ambitious politician to admit snorting cocaine than to acknowledge struggling with nicotine. But among the... Now, maybe we ought to put that on our poll, too.
What's that?
What's your biggest regret? Smoking cigarettes.
Okay.
No?
Yeah.
You don't think, especially some of the people out there who may be dying from, like, lung cancer, emphysema, like that? But among the healthy living smart said types who represent the elite of both the Democratic Party and the American meritocracy, smokers are about as common as guys with mustaches. I venture to say youthful coke dabblers probably outnumber adult smokers among Obama's fellow 80s Harvard law students, it says in this article. Not that any of this means Obama's tobacco news will hurt him in politics. To the contrary, in an age when too many politicians come off as blow-dried confections whose every decision is based on some calculus of future advancement, a public image can actually be helped by the occasional evidence of vice, at least a variety of it that doesn't involve interns, pages, or choked mistresses. Maureen Dowd wrote on Saturday that the smoking habit was an example of how the senator was intriguingly imperfect, a description that was never applied to the likes of Al Gore or John Kerry. Actuarially foolish and hopelessly out of fashion, it's a behavior that, at least in an overachiever like Obama, seems to assuage our national discomfort with overt ambition. How much of a striver can be if he's also a smoker? Obama's not the only smoker to gain authenticity points by copying this most déclassé of American vices. News that Laura Bush was a smoker and speculation that she still puffs away while immersed in the occasional Dostoevsky book is a staple of the glowing press coverage that celebrates the First Lady's uncalculated, unpretentious, unpolitical style. She makes me want to vomit. Upon being introduced to her future mother-in-law, Laura Bush allegedly showed her non-Washingtonian chops by responding to a question about what she did for a living by saying, "I read, I smoke, and I admire." Oh. How do you like that? She reads, she smokes, and she admires. And, of course, when she says she admires, it sure as hell ain't her husband she's talking about. Or her mother-in-law. Or father-in-law, for that matter, either. I admire, and I covet. I admit it openly and freely. How do you like that? I admire and I covet. And what good does it do me? None. 1,033 votes on the poll. Smoking cigarettes we got on there, too. I bet you Barack ain't going to be voting on that. It wasn't a laid-back Turkish holiday. This is from Time magazine. The citizens of the proud, predominantly Muslim nation had no love of popes. To the east, the Iranian government was galvanizing anti-Western feeling. The news reported that an escaped killer was on the loose, threatening to assassinate the pontiff when he arrived, yet the Holy Father was undaunted. Love is stronger than danger, he said. I am in the hands of God, he said.
Neil, God!
He fared forward to Ankara, to Istanbul, and preached the commonality of the world and their great faiths. He enjoined both Christians and Muslims to seek ties of friendship with other believers who invoke the name of a single God. As in...
Neil, God!
He didn't leave covered with garlands, but he set a groundwork for what would be years of rapprochement between the Holy See and Islam. He was a uniter, not a divide. That was 1979. When Benedict XVI travels to Turkey next week on his first visit to a Muslim country since becoming Pope last year, he's unlikely to cloak himself in the downy banner of the Brotherhood the way Pope John Paul II did during his sojourn there 2 years ago. Instead, Benedict XLIX will arrive carrying a much different reputation and wearing much funnier little red shoes, that of a hard-knuckle intellect with a taste for blunt talk and interreligious confrontation. Just 19 months into his tenure, the Pope has become as much of a lightning rod as a moral leader. Suddenly, when he speaks, the whole world listens. Do you listen when he speaks? I don't.
No, not me.
Like that. And what was it he said about all the other religions are gutter religion and you should all burn in hell? Something like that. Not that it was insensitive, and of course he didn't really mean that. It was taken out of context.
Well, he's sorry that they got offended.
Yeah, he's sorry that they were offended. Not that he said what he said about them Muslim and schmata heads. He said something about nice headgear. 1037. Oh, there's Ahmadinejad.
Sources tell the AP.
I just love saying his name, Ahmadinejad. I don't know why. The really gooey. Hell of a dresser. Guess what movie was on last night again, speaking about crazy people like Kim Jong-il?
What's that?
Team America World Police.
Oh.
One of my very favorites. And I watched the whole damn thing again.
What's not to like?
The one with the puppets?
Yeah. What do you mean the one with the puppets? Well, why do you say it like that?
He didn't know what marionettes was.
You don't think that's a great movie?
You know what? I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I'm going to have to give it to him.
No, I have it. I just haven't seen it yet. I have a
sure
list
you haven't seen Match Point either?
No, I have. That's one of those as well.
Well, why didn't you bring these in there for
I did.
I have Match Point. I have Team America.
You have Match Point?
Yes.
Where'd you get that?
From George.
Well, believe me, you'll like that.
He gave me a stack of DVDs that are on my. That's my homework assignment.
Yeah, she's stacked.
Yeah, she is.
10:41 on the poll. The votes are coming in chunks. We got a shot at 10:50 by the time we got out here. 10:50 WMGM, WHN, and CHUM, CHUM. Here's some very bad news for people who love America and the world. Massachusetts Senator John Kerry insisted yesterday his botched joke about President Bush's Iraq policy would not undermine a possible White House campaign in 2008. How do you like that? Not in the least, Kerry said when asked if the furor over his comment had caused him to reconsider a 2008 race. The parlor game of who's up, who's down today or tomorrow, if I listened to that stuff, I never would have won the nomination, he said. One of the Republican politicians mentioned in a crowded field for the White House, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, said he wouldn't make a decision until September of next year. Obviously next year, a relatively late date in the campaign cycle to focus in the private sector on trade policies. Right. We have lots of time for personal ambition, the Georgia Republican said. I think an awful lot of energy this early is wasted. We ought to be focusing on, how you're going to compete with China and India. How are you going to solve the problem in Iraq? How's he going to solve his problem with his messy divorces and all of his other pandering crap? Gingrich said Arizona Senator John McCain and former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, both of whom have set up presidential exploratory committees, were the likely frontrunners. But Gingrich said voters are yearning for a clearer conservative voice. I think Mitt Romney has a chance to fill that, Gingrich said, referring to the outgoing Massachusetts governor, who's a Mormon. People aren't going to vote for a Mormon for governor. They don't want him riding up to their doorstep on a bicycle with a white shirt and a black tie. McCain said Giuliani was an American hero for his leadership in New York following the 9/11 attacks, but McCain called himself the best presidential candidate based on a record of being conservative Republican of knowledge of national security and defense issues. And speaking, by the way, of John Kerry, when it comes to that, McCain's got him beat hands down your pants when it comes to waffling. In fact, don't I have a story about that? Yeah, here we go. McCain flip-flops on Roe v. Wade, which I'll get to that after the break. Flip-flopper with that big puffy cheek. Would you vote for a guy with a big puffed-up cheek like that?
No.
Who never met a war that he didn't like? Who's kissing Bush's ass lately all he can? Kissy, 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 baby. John McCain, my ass. But then, of course, the Democrats who have that knack of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, they'll probably stick Hillary in there. And he will just slap her. He'll slap her silly, man. He'll be here sideways to next Wednesday. Don't you think?
Yes, if she runs.
Don't be doing it, guys. No swillery, please, okay? She never stole a freight train. In fact, I'd stick her ass on a freight train. One that's going out of control real fast, right downhill. And ain't going to come back anytime soon. 1,045 votes on the poll on a very, very, I don't know, this is not a good start to this week. It definitely is a week everybody should be taking off. So that maybe by Thursday we might have something to be thankful for. Or maybe if Clarence's plane crashes on the way back and he and Catherine Harris are both in it. Although I guess he must be back, huh? Although maybe Joe called him on his cell, or in his cell, which is where he belongs. Hey, Clarence, you're an idiot and everybody knows it. Schmuck. 12 minutes past 1 at 560 WQM. An auto accident is a traumatic experience. There's shock, there's stress, there's chorus, there's grief. It's something nobody wants to have happen, but it sure as hell does. And when it does, you need help answering all the questions that immediately go racing through your mind. What do I do now? Do I need medical treatment? Do I need an attorney? Am I entitled to compensation? So many questions and so much confusion. You need to be sure you call the right number the first time when you do need help. And here's that number to call. 1-888-CRASH-61. It's a free call. There's no obligation. 1-888-CRASH-61. Because you need answers, not another accident, not more grief. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can call that toll-free number. It's your auto accident hotline, 1-888-CRASH-61. It's toll-free. There is absolutely no obligation. Get all your questions answered right away about your auto accident with the first call, 1-888-CRASH-61. That's 1-888-CRASH-61.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Statistics show that many men suffering from symptoms of a heart attack will delay going to the hospital until the big game is over. We feel this is wrong.
That's why we created ESPN The Hospital. ESPN The Hospital is a state-of-the-art medical facility and the hottest sports bar around.
The triple bypass wasn't going to keep me from triple overtime. ESPN The Hospital has the top coronary care unit in the area and 20 big screen TVs to catch all the action.
From intensive care to intensely hot buffalo wings, ESPN The Hospital will save your life while you have the time of your life.
The doctors are great. The food is awesome. And the nurses bring my meds in a frosty mug. I feel better already.
From pre-op to post-game, ESPN The Hospital is the place to be.
Okay, we're on our way. 117 at 560 WQM. Mad Dog back today at 2. Then the Power Hour with Mad Dog and the Humper between 4 and 5. Hank Goldberg 5 to 6:30, all by himself. And then we got Panther Preview 6:30 to 7, which you'll hear that. Panthers at the Bruins 7 o'clock night, followed by the world-famous Eddie K. show. Don't tell me he's back from Vegas already, huh? That was a short... What was that all about?
I don't know.
Was there a fight or something going on?
Yeah, I think there was a boxing match. Something.
Oh, yeah. Who won the fight?
I don't know.
Just a joke. In 1999, the moderate version of John McCain said that overturning Roe v. Wade would be dangerous for women and he wouldn't support it even in the long term. Here's McCain in the San Francisco Chronicle from 99. I'd love to see a point where it's irrelevant and could be repealed because abortion is no longer necessary, but certainly in the short term or even the long term, I would not support repeal of Roe v. Wade, which would then force X number of women in America to undergo illegal and dangerous operations. This morning on ABC, McCain, now aggressively courting the likes of Jerry Falwell, expressed his unequivocal support for overturning Roe v. Wade. That was yesterday morning on George Stephanopoulos on ABC. Stephanopoulos, let me ask you one question about abortion, then I want to turn to Iraq. You're for a constitutional amendment banning abortion with some exceptions for life and rape and incest. McCain, rape, incest, and life of the mother, yes. Stephanopoulos, so is President Bush, yet that hasn't advanced in 6 years he's been in office. What are you going to do to advance a constitutional amendment that President Bush hasn't done? McCain, I don't think a constitutional amendment is probably going to take place, but I do believe that it's very likely or possible that the Supreme Court could overturn Roe v. Wade, which would then return these decisions to the states, which I support. Stephanopoulos, and you'd be for that? McCain, yes, because I'm a Federalist. Just as I believe the issue of gay marriage should be decided by the states, so do I believe we'd be better off by having Roe v. Wade return to the states, and I don't believe the Supreme Court should be legislating in the way they did on Roe v. Wade. How do you like that? Waffler, baby. John McCain. Also, never met a war he didn't like. Maniac. But, of course, the media is in love with him for some bizarre reason. They like to present him as being one thing that he's not, which is a rational person. Republican strategists plotting their party's comeback after lost control of Congress have identified the First Lady of Democrat politics as a key target in the 2008 White House campaign, even though she won't be running. Senior party operatives told the Sunday Telegraph yesterday they were already coordinating plans to attack Nancy Pelosi, the liberal Californian congresswoman and speaker-in-waiting, who suffered a damaging rebuff from her own party caucus last week. Can't stand that bitch. The Republican strategy is not only to undermine Mrs. Pelosi's control of the House, but also to associate her in voters' minds with Senator Hillary Clinton, the frontrunner of the 2008 Democratic presidential nomination. 2 years of Pelosi gives a good idea of what 4 years of Hillary will be like, said Tom DeLay. They're both committed liberals, and we'll make it clear to the American people that they are. Mrs. Clinton, 59, has yet to declare herself as a presidential candidate, but has accumulated a vast war chest of campaign donations that would make her hard to stop. If she decides to run for the Democratic nomination, please don't. Republican strategists are determined to prepare for the possibility well in advance. They're praying for her to be the candidate. They're praying. Mrs. Pelosi's opening week blunders will make the Republican tactics easier to execute. Her ally, John Murtha, a Vietnam veteran who's leading calls for an immediate U.S. troop pullout from Iraq, lost heavily in that party battle for the position of majority leader, and this embarrassment how do you say that?
You got the article.
Oh. That embarrassment is a forerunner of the trouble she'll see. I have no idea how you say that. She'll have holding together the Democratic majority, whose members range from left-wingers from inner-city districts to centrist congressmen from suburban areas in the Midwest and West. I got the article, and you haven't memorized it yet, even though it's on our website? Shame on you.
My bad.
Now, how'd you ever get that straightened out with that problem we had yesterday?
Eric called me when it was fixed.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you shoveled them on up there. Let's see how, if we're getting, before I continue with this very important story that I can't pronounce that word, if we're getting a big surge on yesterday's, 80 on that first story. Karl Rove may be leaving the White House in weeks, not months. 80 reads on that. That's pathetic. It's embarrassing. And you say it's Eric's fault? Shame on you, Eric. By the way, have you seen the Mickey D spot where the guy's eating? The two guys are sitting there eating. And one guy says, what do you got? He says, Junior Chicken Sandwich. You know the spot I'm talking about?
I think so, yeah.
Now, what kind of a wuss eats a Junior Chicken Sandwich, or would even admit it?
Might as well go order a Happy Meal.
A Junior Chicken Sandwich. I mean, these are adults, two guys, Anyway, Mrs. Pelosi, 66, who's married to a multi-million property investor, multimillionaire, will become the most powerful woman in American political history when the new House sits for the first time in January. As Speaker, she ranks second in line to the presidency after Dick Cheney, the Vice President. Her solidly liberal voting record during her 19 years as a Frisco Congresswoman have made her a long-time target for Republican strategist attacks. They now plan to focus on the difficulties she's likely to have in running the House, splits within Democratic ranks on Iraq, and her boast that she will oversee the most ethical Congress ever in the wake of Republican corruption scandals. Pelosi has set the bar extraordinarily high for the conduct of her caucus herself, and even Hillary, says a former Republican House strategist. Tony Coelho, former Democratic whip in the House who ran Vice President Al Gore's 2000 presidential campaign, acknowledged his party's concerns. Even seasoned Democrats are concerned about the Republicans' ability to tar the polished image of Hillary by attacking Mrs. Pelosi, he told the Sunday Telegraph. If Nancy does poorly, that hurts Hillary. That's really unfair, but that's what everyone thinks. That's reality. To help Hillary, Nancy has to be perceived as an effective leader, and she's had a terrible start. It was just an awful first week. Awful. A senior Republican operative who planned the damaging ads against Senator John Kerry, the Democrats' candidate in 2004, predicted it wouldn't be easy to turn Mrs. Pelosi into a surrogate target for Mrs. Clinton. If Hillary's been able to separate herself from criticisms of her own husband, she'll try to do the same with Pelosi, he said. She and her people are very smart. They'll try to highlight the difference between the two women. You'll see Hillary move more to the center, he'd be saying. Oh, there she is now. God bless America! How do you like that for timing, huh? Man, I think I better leave right now and go find a good machine. I think it's my lucky day. Could I do that again in a million years?
No.
These guys are busy eating, okay? They're not paying attention to anything that I'm sitting here with these stories. They could care less.
Well, I just finished up, so don't worry.
They're eating, man. Manja, manja, manja. That's what goes on in that studio. No wonder the place is in such total disarray. Probably the roaches turned it upside down over the weekend. 1069, 1,069 votes on the poll. What's your biggest regret? I think that's one of the better polls we've taken in a long time. You know what?
It's not bad. I didn't really know you wanted a response there.
Just relax, okay? Just digest all that food, man. Now, what was it that they brought? Subs?
Well, Tony's, yeah. Well, Gary came in. Was at
Not
Tony's.
Junior Chicken Sandwich.
They got a new bread going on at Tony's, which is fantastic. So they brought in a sub for me to eat.
Well, wasn't that special?
Gotta love good bread.
Biggest regret, the ass I missed, 365. Missing out all that ice cream from Jackson's is one of my biggest regrets, although I'd probably be dead. Never went to college, 133. Wish I'd been a better person, 99. Isn't that damn honest of them? Admitting that they're rotten, no-good bastards? Pretty honest.
Yeah.
I hate this poll 91 down to 8.5%. Thank God. Getting married, 91. Never found true love, 86. Nor can we find a song by Bing Crosby and Grace Kelly.
Don't have it.
No gots. Never found true love, 86. Have none, 57. No regrets. Boy, I'd sure like to meet those people. And, and probably those people are real idiots,
Well, they'll give you their reasons for that.
Why is that?
You don't have any regrets in life. You don't look back upon it and say, I wish I hadn't done that. It's an attitude thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it's a healthy attitude.
I think everybody wishes they got a little more ass, no? I mean,
a lot more.
Anybody get too much ass out there?
Rectum?
Nobody raising their hands in here.
No regrets, 58. Was a lousy son or daughter, 36. Never bought a house, 36. Getting fat, 35. Having kids, 20. Abusing drugs or alcohol, 8. Didn't graduate high school, 8. Smoking cigarettes. Puffing on those nasty cancer sticks, man, them faggots, 5. And getting divorced, only 4. In fact, probably most of our divorced people out there kissed the ground for in honor of the day that they did it.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Like Neil's poll.
From the twisted minds who brought you Halloween comes an entirely new dimension in horror. Don't look in the oven, or you'll experience the stark, naked terror that is Thanksgiving. A family just like yours eats a bird that was once alive.
More stuffing, Todd?
Mm-hmm. And they eat until they feel like they're going to explode. But it doesn't stop there.
Uncle Luther.
Now it's time to entertain the in-law.
Is that fish I smell or the dog? I'm allergic, you know.
And you'll think they're never going to leave.
So, where do I put these suitcases?
And just when you thought you could escape by watching TV, you discover there is no way out.
Now, game number 2 of our holiday NFL quadruple header.
Thanksgiving. The annual terror is back.
Was that a good lamp?
Oh.
Now playing in a dining room near you.
1:32 at QAM. So let me ask you, when did this Dolphins on Thanksgiving Day, when the hell did that start? I thought it was always Detroit and Green Bay on Thanksgiving Day, wasn't it?
No, it's always Detroit.
Yeah, it's always Detroit.
And Green Bay.
The opponent.
To be TBA?
Different. That's right.
Like board op TBA?
Yeah.
Wait till you hear this, speaking of how much ash is too much. 2 peace activists have planned a massive anti-war demonstration for the first day of winter. But they don't want you marching in the streets. They'd much rather you just stay home. The Global Orgasm for Peace was conceived by Donna Sheehan, 76, and Paul Raphael, 55, whose immodest goal is for everyone in the world to have an orgasm December 22nd while focusing on world peace. The orgasm gives out an incredible feeling of peace during it and after it, Raphael said Sunday. Your mind is like a blank. It's like a meditative state. And mass meditations have been shown to make a change. The couple are no strangers to sex and social activism. Sheehan, no relation to anti-war activist Cindy Sheehan, brought together nearly 50 women in 2002 who stripped naked and spelled out the word peace. The stunt spawned a mini-movement called Bearing Witness that led to similar unclothed demonstrations worldwide. The couple have studied evolutionary psychology and believe that war is mainly an outgrowth of men trying to impress potential mates. A case of my missile is bigger than your missile, as Raphael put it. By promoting what they hope to be a synchronized global orgasm, they hope to get people to channel their sexual energy into something more positive. The couple said interest appears strong, with 26,000 hits a day to their website, globalorgasm.org.
Well, all right.
The dream is to have everyone in the world take part, Raphael said, and if that means laying down your gun for a few minutes, then hey, all the better. Yeah, lay down your piece and pick up your other piece. Pick up your pistola. globalorgasm.org. C.com would it just wouldn't have had the same impact.
That's right.
So there you go. Mark it down on your calendar now. It's a month away from Wednesday. Wednesday, November 22nd. December 22nd.
All right. I'm marking
Be sure to have a giant whooping orgasm, or maybe several on that day, December 22. Because the more you have, the more peace there's going to be.
That's right.
And the more peace you get. 1,088 votes. We're going to make 1,100 today. That's not too shabby. We had a pretty weak start.
And you didn't think we were going to make 1,000.
I said we were going to have a tough time making 1,000, as if you really care, okay?
Like
you
Notre
and George,
Dame
man, you got a page right out of George's Book of Indifference. We've all heard of the Book of Love. They got the Book of Indifference. Aren't you excited about that? I always ask. I mean, I know you're not any more than I am. But it's something to try to whip up the audience a little bit, pretend that we care. Clarence can't even do that. He can't even pretend that he cares. That nitwit, that simpleton, that quisling. Speaking of that, gender-bending boy fruit flies fight like girls. Speaking of Clarence, this fits right in. In a study that sheds light on the biology of aggression, scientists swap genes in gender-bending fruit flies to make boys fight like girls and girls fight like boys. Researchers from Harvard Medical School and the Institute of Molecular Pathology in Vienna focused on a gene in fruit flies dubbed fruitless, an important player in behavioral differences between the sexes of these insects. The gene is known for its role in male courtship, but also controls another sex-specific behavior, how flies fight, according to the research appearing yesterday in the journal Nature Neuroscience, which I'm sure you all read religiously. When they fight, female fruit flies rely on maneuvers like shoving and headbutts to an opponent's body. You ever see flies headbutt?
Not lately.
Males use tactics that include lunging, boxing, and rearing up on their back legs and snapping down their forelegs to flatten an adversary. The researchers swapped the male and female versions of the gene in fruit flies and observed the consequences. Males with the feminine gene used female fighting tactics, while the females with the masculine genes fought like the boys, like dykes. I mean, people have a lot to learn about the biological basis of aggression, said Harvard neurobiologist Edward Kravitz, one of the study's authors. It goes without saying aggression as well as violence in a society is a serious problem that has to have biological roots. And the biological roots will have genetic components and experiential components, Kravitz, whatever the hell it is.
You're all right today? You're having some issues in your pronunciation.
Experiential. When's the last time you saw that word, huh? Experiential component, my ass. I'm having a little trouble with a few of these words today, and you're picking on it, huh? Let's hear you read a few of these stories, okay, Mr. Hotshot?
I'll read them.
I'll bet you will. 1,081, we're inching closer to that 1,100 mark. We're getting really close, right to the precipice. Don't forget, we got boobies on our MySpace page today, right under Brady Quinn.
Woohoo!
What the hell is that? Where did that come from?
Woohoo!
Where is
Yes,
that?
that's
Homer.
What is it?
Homer from The Simpsons.
It'll be under Simps.
Seams?
Simps.
No, that's in the next spot under Seams. What the hell is that? I don't have that in here.
SIMPS.
No, I have that, but where's that sound?
Dash woohoo.
Oh. Oh, that I never even played that in my life, and probably never will again. President Bush suffered his most visible diplomatic setback since his party's defeat in midterm elections yesterday, when Asian leaders failed to back Washington's call for robust action against North Korea and Kim Jong-il or Alec Baldwin. You haven't seen that, Team America World Police?
Not yet, no.
Then how do you know it's the movie with the marionettes if you haven't watched it?
Because we had this conversation last time I did this show.
And you still, even since then, you still haven't watched it.
That is correct.
It's great. Matt Damon. Mr. Bush in Vietnam, on his first foreign trip since the elections, had lobbied strenuously for a unified strategy aimed at getting Pyongyang to abandon its nuclear ambitions, meeting the Russian, Chinese, South Korean, and Japanese leaders on the sidelines of the summit. The rebuff, the second for Mr. Bush this weekend on North Korea, underlined the president's diminished powers in the wake of his election defeat. It'd be like Clark Kent with too much kryptonite near his ass. You know, he's got diminished powers. So, too, did the muted response to Mr. Bush's presence in Hanoi, a shadow of the tumultuous reception for President Clinton when he visited Vietnam 6 years ago. And that's because the rest of the world is onto this Bush, baby. They're onto his ass. They know him for what he is. Oh, don't tell me they're going to go on about this Richards thing again.
Look, he's sick over what happened, so I think that the snowball is kind of rolling down the hill now, and he's going to have to do something. What that something is, I don't know, but, I mean, he's going to have to make some kind of a statement.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say the N-word. I meant the S word, you know, the T word, any letter but N-word.
CNN is the only place that's reporting that story.
That is correct. I Googled, man, all over the place. I tried to find the story in print so that I could read it on the air and talk about it a little bit more intelligently. I can't find it. They have the video clip on there, and that doesn't tell you squat anyway.
Right.
So there you go. They're the only ones that are whipped up to a frenzy about it because he said the N-word on stage in L.A. at some stupid-ass comedy club. First of all, any guy that's at a comedy club, well, it speaks for itself. Like some of
what does that mean?
Like some of Chicken X buddies. What does that mean? What?
What does it mean if a guy goes to a comedy club?
Michael Richards, he's a TV star. What the hell is he doing in a comedy club? If you start out in a comedy club, that's one thing.
He did start off.
I beg your pardon?
He was a comedian first.
I understand that. But now he's going back to this joint?
They always go back to their
roots. You've got the attorney background as well. Could anything happen with that legally?
Oh, who the hell cares, okay? I mean, this is the best they've got. All day they're pumping this, man. They're pumping it. Wait till December 22nd and then start pumping it. 20 till 2 at QAM. No, you're right. I am way off my feet today. And, of course, it's all because of Clarence.
You
am
just
I right?
missed George.
I beg your pardon?
I said you just missed George.
No, I don't miss George at all. Not that we don't enjoy having George there, but we need a rest, especially after his hard-ass behavior last week. You know, it's one thing to be an expert on something. It'd be like my giving you a song to dance about the Notre Dame Air Force and Army game, you know, like that. How the hell do I know who they played? I didn't watch any of it. I wasn't even home. I was busy plunging my guts out.
It was a Woodbine weekend.
That is correct. Saturday not so good. Yesterday broke even. And got to meet my good friend from wherever he's from. Well, didn't get really meet him or anything else. Got to saw that bitch. When she came over and put her hands on his shoulders, and then she reached down, he looked back up, and they kissed on the lips. I wanted to just vomit. Yeah, just like that. I thought to myself, what in God? You're right. It must be the money. She must be from a family that is absolutely loaded. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
God. If she paid you guys each $10,000, you wouldn't touch the best part of her if you could find it with a search party. I don't know. I'm telling you right now.
Got 10 G's on there. I don't know.
I'm telling you right now.
We could each use $10,000 right now.
I'm sure there'll be a line at the door on your way out.
Neil God.
Tom's a crazy one. Hey, little Katie, who'll give you away? John Travolta or Patrick Swayze? Hey, little Katie, Xenu, it's not too late to think again. You can back out of this cruise wedding. You're not too old to start again. Hey, little Katie, Scientologist.
You fairy.
Hey, little Katie, your parents are pissed. Hey, little Katie, it's not too late to run. Don't be afraid of Maverick from Top Gun. Hey, little